Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Monday Night Mayhem. That's right, we're back. You've got Mean Gene Money here, along with my tag team partner, Zach Panzarella, and we are broadcasting live from Fontana, California, home of the Auto Club Speedway. You have arrived for Season 4 as we are rolling into Race 3 of our 12-race regular season, and it's time to separate the boys from the men, the wheat from the chaff, and who better to do that than my tag team partner, Zach Panzarella. Zach, how are you doing tonight, bud?
Oh man, I'm doing as good as ever, Mean Gene. Always so stoked to be here on a Monday night with you in the MRL. Love this league, love this track. This is my local track. You're gonna hear me bring it up over and over again today. I don't care how much of the noise, y'all. I am so stoked to be at this place, and we'll talk about its history. We'll talk about what makes it unique, but one thing that we're going to be bringing up a lot today, too, Mean Gene, is some close and fast racing and a track that demands the most out of you.
I'll tell you what, we're going to get 80 laps of excitement here. These drivers are going to have 4 tires, 1 fast repair, and there is no stage break. Now, yes, at the completion of lap 40, we will award points to the top 5 drivers, but they will continue to run. And so hopefully we're going to see some green flag pit stops, especially on such a crazy track. Zach, there's so many lines that the drivers could choose from. I would not be surprised to see 5 lanes at the same time, all going into turn 1 and 2.
Me either, Mean Gene. This track offers so much room for good racing, but it also, like I just said, asks so much out of the driver. You really can't slip up here. While they're super wide, as you just saw there on screen with Kevin Kyle, one little slip up and that car shoots up to the wall. This track is so wide. It's so wide, but it's also so slick and it's so flat for how big it is, Mean Gene. Tracks this size are usually far more banked. But here at Auto Club, this is a far more flat track. I'll pull up the info here. And this track is very flat for the amount of speed these drivers are going to be carrying through these corners.
Yeah, you're looking at 14-degree banking, but it is just so long, especially that turn 3 and 4. It is very difficult to modulate that gas pedal to make sure you don't hit it a little too fast, cause yourself a little slide, and have those accidents. It is a beautiful 2-mile D-shaped oval asphalt. And what more could you say about that thing? We're going to talk about this track a little bit later. We got a special segment. I think our viewers at home know what that's going to be. But Zach, first, let's talk about what happened last week at the iRacing Super Speedway. Last week, we went to the iRacing Super Speedway in Imaginary Land, Massachusetts, and we saw Kevin Kyle punch his Willy Wonka magic ticket into the playoffs as Kevin Kyle, that 2X driver, took that victory. Andrew Bolander second, Matthew Fritz. That was pretty much a really clean race, Zach, until the last 10 laps. All of a sudden we had 5 cautions and we used 3 green-white checkers.
Yeah, especially like for the track itself, Mean Gene, we were expecting absolute mayhem, no pun intended, for that race. And it really was pretty calm, all things considered, until the end. We had a pretty big incident between 2 of our drivers. One of them, our ultimate winner, which also just goes to show how crazy things got after that caution that I think we went green for. I think it had to have been around 60 laps, Mean Gene. No, or 40 laps there, which is a lot. But after that, things got insane to the point where one of the guys involved in the initial wreck, the guy on screen right now, actually, Kevin Kyle, was able to take home the win, who was initially a lap down when that initial caution came out, Mean Gene.
Yeah, some amazing driver from him. Other drivers of note, we mentioned Bolander getting second, Matthew Fritz third. Jax Duvall took he led the most laps, but he was involved in a wreck that caused him to spin like a top. And then Joe Amato took the pole, but he had a little incident pitting at the wrong time, getting that black flag. Brandon Guerin, he took the stage win, and he was the fastest lap. But the move of the race had to be Kevin Kyle on that third green-white checker restart. He's stuck in traffic. His teammate gives him just a light tap in the middle, yells at him on the radio, go high. He goes high, and there's Joe Vulpes to propel him to the front. And that was just the move of the race, the Mean Gene money move of the race, as Kevin Kyle took it home. And that's going to make Kyle your points leader. Andrew Bolander with that second place finish. He's second in points. And then Colin Bollinger, he drops down to third. But remember, one win and you're in. So Bolander and Kevin Kyle being our two winners, those are guys you can guarantee to see in the playoffs. And this playoff race is going to be exciting. New names added to old names, and that just makes this thing more and more exciting.
Yeah, it really does, Mean Gene. I'm impartial on when you're in, but honestly, with what we've seen so far, it makes it super, super exciting, especially with the field we have this year. It's so much deeper than it was last year in terms of quantity and also in terms of quality. The skill is everywhere. The talent is from the top to the bottom. So sometimes that when you're in really does work wonders to make the playoffs even that much more interesting. I'm excited to know that Kevin Kyle is locked into our playoffs as long as he can meet the minimum amount of races. And yeah, I think a lot of these guys, watching how these races are unfolding and seeing how difficult it is to win out here, are thinking about how badly they need to get a win before we get to the playoffs.
Yeah, that win and you're in really paid off last year, especially for Michael Mata and eventual season 3 champion Buddy Sully. Both of those guys would not have made it in on points alone, but they did reach the minimum race requirement and they had victories, and that pushed both of those drivers into that playoff format where we just saw Buddy Sully dominate and end up being the guy that we were all talking about last year. So we are here live at Auto Club. You can see the practice. There's Michael Mata out there right now. He is your fastest car in practice. That's that number 16 MC Motorsport vehicle, that nice teal one. And you can see some other guys getting in those last minute laps. You got about 60 seconds until we start qualifying. But you know, there's 4 guys out here today, Zach, I think have a little bit of an advantage. Our sister league, Bonfire Race League, they ran Next Gen on their Sunday morning Premier Cup. And 4 guys, Kevin Kyle, Joe Volpus, Jose Medina, David Owens, those guys ran that race. You think that's going to be an advantage for those guys? They've already put in 81 laps here.
Oh yeah, I absolutely think it will, Mean Gene. It never hurts to put in another full-length race, especially to force yourself to get those long runs in, right? To really experience the tires. A lot of people I've seen have trouble practicing those long runs, really putting in the discipline to put in a 45-minute, 30-minute lap run, or I'm sorry, just minute run in practice. It's not the most fun thing to do, but it's worth it. But these guys got it for free yesterday in the BRL around some of the most competitive drivers we've seen in a while, Mean Gene. And speaking of competitive drivers, I'm one, and you saw the lap I put down earlier.
I did.
And so I want to make sure, or I want to do it again for the people, for a little addition of Zach on Track.
Absolutely, I think we should. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see this. Zach on Track is brought to you by one of our sponsors, Chantilly Lace. I want to thank Chantilly Lace for their sponsorship, bringing us all year long this action. And Zach, let's show us how Auto Club be the stud at the club.
Wish me the best of luck, and I'm going to stick with the original plan, which I'm going to show you guys the 2 lines that me and Gene are going to be talking about probably for about 90% of this race. And that is, pretty obviously, if you guessed it, the bottom and the top. But it's so important here. And I think probably this track more than many others that we'll see all season. The top is so beneficial in terms of raw speed, but the bottom is where you're going to save your tires. And in an old surface like this, a surface that it no longer exists, it's that old, saving tires is everything. So you really, really need to be disciplined here. You need to save your tires where possible. So what I'm going to show you guys first is the bottom, also because I'm on a little bit colder tires. And it's a little bit easier if I'm being honest. So let's do the bottom first. And what the key is to back up these corners and get the nose pointed all the way to the bottom so I can hug the bottom of that line right there. And even that was overshooting it. Watch my relative on the top there, shooting up from when I entered. And I'd love to show you guys. Oh, that's the wall.
Okay, the wall's still working.
Yep, it is. I want to show them my last lap. There it is. Okay, so now we're going to look at my last lap so we can compare from that one. We'll do that one as a little bit of a throwaway. So we're going to do the bottom one more time. And so what I want to see, what you guys to pay attention to first is how much speed while carrying the top once I do it, but also when you shortcut this enormous track, there is quite a bit of speed to gain. So again, let me back this up even more than I did last time. I'm even using brake here, guys. Some guys might shift into 4th to stay low here, and I like this here. You see my relative fixing what I did last lap. Well, obviously I'm not hitting the wall, so that's a good sign. But That is how you want to exit these corners, with the wheel as straight as possible. And that's how you save tires at a track like this, is by not turning the wheel a lot. As you can see, I'm barely turning the wheel. David Owens taught me this. You never want to go more than about 30% at really any track. I mean, there's other tracks that are exceptions, but any oval, 30% to the left is where you want to go, and you want to commit to it once you're there. So that was a lap on the bottom. Now let's have some fun and rip the top, Kyle Larson style, without embarrassing ourselves. Here we go. And so as you see, I'm making the track longer, so my relative is going up. And now watch this, guys. Keep your eye on the top of the screen right below my mirror, and watch how much time I get back down these straightaways, because I made the turn more simple. I made it longer. I kept my wheel straighter, and I got to the throttle earlier. Here we go again. And now that I have the car underneath me, I'm going to really try to let it rip next lap, me and Gene. And hopefully redeem myself and put in a lap that would be respectable. But look at that, guys. That is a little bit better than my last lap. I really did nail the bottom there. That goes to show that when you can, you should use the bottom. You should try to save those tires. But now let's really try to go for it in the top here. Use a little brake to get the car centered. Back full throttle. There it is, me and Gene. There it is. And
I
now,
like how you're staying above 170 there. 40.7 though, that's going to put you 16th in qualifying. You need
I know, I gotta
do
do better. Gotta do better here. Gotta really send it here. Get it on that left seam here, and then again, full throttle. Try to get the wheel as straight as I can. Obviously not hit the wall. Perfect. And now let's get to the bottom and ride that apron. You'd only do this in a qualifying lap or late in a race. So what's that going to be? That's a 40.415. I'm assuming that's a top 15?
You'd be 9th right now,
I'll
based
take
on
it.
who's qualified. But only 17 of the 29 drivers have qualified.
Oh.
But I'll tell you what, Zach, that was a hell of a lap, my friend.
Thank you. I tried my best. It wasn't as good as what we did privately earlier. I was proud of that one. But hey, I'll take it, me and Gene.
So again, that's what we're going to be seeing, is when they're going to choose to go high. Running down low is quick, but at some point those tires wear out. And as you saw Zach do, you can keep it up above that 170 point on that outside lane. Speeds will cut down to about 163, even lower on older tires when you're going down low. So making that decision, we spoke with Kevin Kyle recently. He led a lot of laps Sunday on this track, and he said that was his issue. That he went up too high too soon. So that's something to monitor. Who's going to pit and when? I've seen cars pit as soon as 35. I've seen them hold out to lap 40, and then seeing them jump up and down. So that's going to be interesting battle today as we see these guys making those decisions. Other interesting news that we can tell you that we just got in is new teammates. The Highside Hustlers have added a new teammate, Eric Thornton. Eric Thornton is 6th in points. He runs Wednesdays with David Owen and Buddy Sully. And then he magically now is one of their teammates. And Zachary Tyler, new racer, going to join Venom. All right, Zach, looks like we got our qualifying results are in. And look who's up on the pole. Joe Volpus. Joe Volpus representing the East Coast Alliance. That's the team that was formed after David Owens walked away from Gulf Coast Racing. David Owens is 2nd. Great run for David. He'll be on the outside. Matthew Fritz 3rd, Eric Thornton 4th, Sean Walton 5th. But there's a little news about Sean Walton and David Owens, actually. Remember that what happened at Charlotte?
Yeah, at Charlotte, Sean Walton and David Owens having a little bit of a mix-up towards the end of the race, and the league admins didn't feel like it was an adequate punishment to have them start in the rear at a super speedway race, since a lot of people will voluntarily do that, me included. So this is the race they are serving that penalty. So Sean Walton, while he did qualify 5th, which, yeah, that's good practice. You should do that. You should see where you end up. I believe it's a drive-through penalty that Walton will be.
He'll start from the
pits.
He'll just start in the pit.
Right, and that's why if you look beyond our grid right there, I think you see the 23 not lined up yet. So Walton will be starting for the pits. And that's why that inside lane is empty right now on that 3rd row.
And then David Owens, he engaged in a Lincoln Douglas-style debate with Sean Walton, where 4-letter metaphors were the most popular topic, and that use of language ended David Owens up to start with an EOL. But drafting does come into effect here, so I expect to see Owens cut his way through traffic relatively quickly.
Yeah, so that will move Fritz. Actually, that will move Thornton up to the front row from 4th place, with Owens having to move to the back with the EOL. To wrap up our top 10, we got Kevin Kyle in 6th. Keep your eye on him. He showed tons of speed in the BRL yesterday. He has wins at this track, and he is fast in this track in any race car. Jose Medina continuing that run of good qualifying runs, or good qualifying efforts, with the 7th place. And speaking of good qualifying, Alex Hillman has not qualified outside of the top 10 this season yet. Justin Parham in 9th place. Michael Mata in 10th, our fastest driver in qualifying, in practice, only able to get a 10th place qualifying effort. Zachary Tyler making his MRL debut in 11th place, and Austin Merrow in 12th.
13th is going to be Jay Stinson. Daniel Smith is going to be 14th. Remember, Daniel was in 2nd at Charlotte when he disconnected, so excited to see what he can do on this 2-miler. Joe Amato, last week's pole sitter, is in 15th. Tony Iverson, 16th. Steve Lewis, 17. Richard Swingle, 18. Matt Novella, 19. Jack Sanders, 20. Colin Bollinger, 21st. And these guys choosing not to qualify. 21st is Bollinger. 22, Andrew Bolander. 23, Jax Duval.
Yes, and then rounding out our field, 24th belonging to Mason Smalley, 25th, Stephen Neal, 26th, Hunter Hall, 27th, Kevin Brower, Brendan Guerin, and then rounding out our 29-car field. Let's go, Mean Gene. John Beverly. Shout out John Beverly. We're going to do one extra lap around this track. I'm assuming because of these penalties that we have to organize. David Owens with such a good qualifying effort, certainly not making it more simple, is it, Mean Gene?
No, but I also imagine they probably heard me running my suck still when they were coming around turn 3. It was definitely for our benefit, right?
Honestly, I appreciate them. They can't hear what I'm saying to you sometimes, but I was yelling in your ear like, okay, we're about to go green, Mean Gene. And then, yeah, I think that was for us. To the point where also, I'm going to call you out real quick.
Breathing.
You forgot our boy Tony Iverson, and how could us, especially us two people, forget Tony Iverson? He will be starting in 16th place. That was right about when I yelled in your ear. But Tony Iverson, another average qualifying effort today.
Yeah, but you know what? Tony Iverson, he did not take the pole last year, but guess what he did do last year? And that was come through with a 2nd place finish, and he led the most laps and he was fastest. So yep. Iverson, he really needs a good race. He's had some contact with some drivers. He drove angry at the end of the year last year, and he started out angry so far this year. So that's something we're going to keep an eye on. Can Tony keep his temper under control, or is he learning the ways of the Sith? You know, it takes two. Walton is looking for an apprentice.
I know. I mean, him joining that team has not been good for him so far. Who would have thunk it, Mean Gene?
All right, so we're coming around onto turn 4 right here. It looks like we are going to go green. We are paying attention to Joe Volpus in the 07. He is currently your leader, and we are about to take this thing green going into the Geico restart zone. Waiting for the flag, man. There's the flag. Joe Volpus on the inside is going to lead us here across the start-finish line at the Auto Club. Eric Thornton side-by-side drag racing. Volpus getting some help from Fritz, Kevin Kyle pushing on the outside, and they are side by side going through turns 1 and 2, and we're staying green. Look down low, though, as Fritz is going to make it 3 wide.
Already you're seeing the looseness of this track, especially with the cold tires, play a role. A few drivers there not having the confidence in their car to go all out there, and guys like Fritz taking advantage, taking it 3 wide, but who gets the most of it? Eric Thornton to the lead early.
This is an amazing run. Eric Thornton, new high-side hustler driver, 6th in points right now, leading this race coming across, and he's going to go ahead and take points for leading that first lap. Excellent driving right now. Look at Michael Mata closing the gap. Volpus pokes his nose on the inside. Can he hold that apron? We talked about that outside, Zach. 3 wide behind them, and if I look on that outside, that's where Joe Volpus is trying to make his move.
I was thought, oh, look at that shot, Mean Gene. Look at the size of this field. Look at all the different
Michael Mata is crazy.
He's a crazy man. He really is. As Michael Mata makes the move to the inside, takes it 3 wide. Volpus trying to rip the top. Look at Hillman already making big moves. Hillman started in 7th place. He's already looking to make a move to the top 5. Kevin Kyle gets shot down to the bottom. There is so much going on. All these guys trying to make the most of these fresh tires, trying to get positions now, and no one wants to wait. And look at what this is creating.
Yeah. Excellent racing right here. This is some serious pack racing. Drafting is becoming a part of this. The 4 of Zach Tyler up on that outside early. We talked about that. Who is going to be able to ride that apron and who is going to just get stuck outside early? You want to get there late, not too soon. And we're seeing a lot of those drivers right now. Look at the top. Thornton goes low. Volp is taking the middle. Mata, Hillman, they're going low. Again, it's Zach Tyler on the outside in that pink number 4. He's slammed by Smith into the wall. He keeps it straight. Hard action right now. 4 wide at Auto Club as we complete lap number 3.
Zach Tyler just got what the side of his car says. He got yeeted. I love that Kevin Harvick throwback. That's awesome. But Zach Tyler, a rookie to this league, still trying to get used to driving around these guys, around the intensity that is all too regular at these races. And man, it's not for the weak. I'm not saying he is, but gosh, I cannot even imagine how just bewildering that is when you first come to this league and have to deal with these guys at a track like this, taking you 4 wide, lap 2. The intensity is through the roof right now. And man, look at Joe Volpis making a move to the inside of Thornton. Joe Volpis got the pole this race. He wants the lead back.
And he's got Michael Mata going down there with him. He's going to get a little draft action. Mata abandons him, goes back high to go into the turn. Volpis takes it up into the middle. Look at Thornton bring it down. There's Hillman. Jose Medina has made his way into the action, as well as 2X driver Austin Merrill.
Oh, and Volpis is loose.
Mata treating him like he treated David Cook last year here, slamming into the back of him. So Volpis keeps it on the straight and narrow, but he's going to fall back into 5th place. Austin Merrill lets Volpis back into line. Exciting moment between the 16 and the 7 early on, Zach.
You have to wonder what the radio sounds like right now. I mean, Gene, if Michael Mata is apologizing to Volpis, now is not the time. It's lap 6 out of 80. Now is not the time to make any enemies. You'd hope that was, obviously an accidental situation, but man, you don't want to affect it. But it is not affecting Mata's aggressiveness as you see him slide up the track there straight into the 08 of Hillman. Michael Mata is absolutely going for it. Like you said, this guy is a crazy person. We've seen it. We saw it last year. He is a blast to watch. But man, sometimes when you have to race this guy, it could be difficult. Michael Mata is an aggressive driver, Mean Gene, and it's fun to watch. And look at that, Daniel Smith to the outside. He's now looking to make some moves. We've talked about this as well, that using the outside is a great way to get positions, especially early, but it's going to come back and bite you if we end up getting a long run somehow.
Yeah, you got to start wondering about tire wear, the way Mata is just swerving up and down, and that might force Mata up to that top a little bit sooner than he would want. Right now, Alex Hillman using that go down low, come up high. Mata making contact there with Jose Medina, and that's going to allow Austin Merrill and Tony Iverson to come into the picture. Joe Volpis, he's recovered from that early contact with Mata. One thing else about Mata, he will come into the turn extremely late. So if you're on the outside of him, you better be prepared to ride that
round.
My
Mata goodness.
Again
oh my
moves.
Goodness. That was an insane move by Michael Mata. Wow. And that right there in the 13, that's Sean Walton. Like we talked about, he didn't start in the pits in the outburst of David Owens, who had the EOL. Starting the pits is much more detrimental, and you're seeing it now at a fashion like this. Walton is a lap down, Mean Gene. He is out here. He's racing these guys for a reason. I don't blame him at all. He's trying to get that lap back. It's only 3 cars ahead of him. If he can get that lap back, that's not only to give him, obviously, the lap back, but oh my gosh, all the confidence in the world. If this guy just drove through the field, got his lap back the hard way, and then he can just race them straight up whenever we do get a restart. Sean Walton, understandably, going super hard right now, making it more complicated for the lead lap cars.
Yeah, Sean Walton did finish top 10 last year, and he is always a factor. He of the front bumper. No one's ever doubted his driving ability. They've just doubted his ability to give and take. He's a taker. He might have to give a little bit more, but you know what? You don't win championships by just taking it. You win them by giving it. So Sean Walton, if he finds that fine medium, that's the guy we could see in a championship run. Speaking of championship runs, look up front, 3 wide, right behind Michael Mata, and then the 4 car gonna go outside. That's Zach Tyler, the rookie. He's trying to give a little bitty push to Austin Merrill on the outside.
Watch
as they
out.
tap in again.
Watch out.
Tyler, he smashes the wall.
Tyler absolutely smashes the wall, and I see how that devolved, Mean Gene. Austin Merrill had an enormous run. He had the choice to make it 4 wide. He chose not to. Instead, he gave Hillman a really nice bump into 3 and 4. And what happened with that checkup that Merrill had to do, it gave Tyler the opportunity to take him 4 wide, and that's exactly what Tyler did. And Merrill, yellow is out, Mean Gene. Yellow's out. Oh, look behind. Oh, car's in the wall. Car's in the wall behind him. Oh, no. 84 jacks the ball. Looks to be checked up. Can't tell how much damage that car has. We'll have to catch up to that one. But just to close that thought on the incident before, the second they went 4 wide, me and Gene, I think Mero was like, absolutely not, dude. I chose not to make that situation. Now you're doing it. Nope. He cut off his line. He made sure that Tyler did not have an exit. And when Tyler's dirty air and line got cut off and he had that dirty air in the nose of that car, that thing went around and the overcorrection sent it straight into the wall. Just some hard racing and not very much give and take for 10 laps into the race.
No, that's something that Tyler needs to be prepared for. Is he's a brand new car. People are not used to him yet. And so as fast as you might be, nobody's willing to give it up to the new car. Another thing is your car's pink. Pink and purple cars back in NASCAR 5 heat, that meant they were going to wreck everybody. So being pink and a new guy, I think those are a couple of things that this Venom race team driver going to have to take into account. But how about the racing so far, Zach? This has been wide open. Michael Mata is swerving back and forth like my drunk Asian girlfriend.
Oh, man, that's the incident,
This has been insane.
Oh, this has been unbelievable racing. It's been unbelievable racing.
Is that Owens?
That is a novella, and that is a replay of the incident we had earlier, Mean Gene, and that was actually a long devolving impact of the Zachary Tyler incident. Check this out.
I see Jay Stinson with the dude wipe.
So, oh yeah, and I think
that's novella in the red and black.
And Stinson may need 1 or 2. Thank God he has that sponsor after this wreck, because look at what's about to happen here. Here comes Novella innocently coming up the track, and I'm going to have a hard time putting blame on anyone here, honestly. So Zachary Tyler dealing with newfound damage. I mean, it's probably been a corner or 2 since he's gotten this damage over there in that 4 pink throwback. I think that's the millennial one, right? Car from Harvick. But watch this. I think Tyler is loose here, and so is Novella a little bit coming up the track, but Tyler certainly coming down, and they come together there and sends Novella straight up the track. Enormous hit. Does need a dude wipe. Oh, he may need more than that. Yep. He may need some he's gonna need some jackhammers, some wrenches, some spare parts. He's gonna need more than just the dude wipe.
A lot of people swerving to get around
26, I believe that's Smalley in the rear, locking up, trying to avoid it. He noses it in. That's probably likely going to be a good amount of damage. Probably not a fast repair, but I've done that more times than I'm proud of, so no judgment there for Smalley. But man, Mean Gene, you were not kidding. What an unreal bunch of racing to start this race. That was a lot to keep up with. I cannot imagine what's going to be like with 10 to go. What the hell is going on?
Well, again, people, this is race 3. It's a win and you're in situation. This track is wide open. You've seen them able to hold those speeds, 170, 171 mile an hour on that outside lane, where 163 down underneath on that bottom, and then they just slide up. So drivers like Michael Mata that excel at the super speedway, they have no problem making those moves here on this track. It's just a matter of the other drivers being prepared for it. It reminds me of that Talladega race where we saw that smash bump, the smash drafting by Walton and Tucker that the other cars were not prepared for. Not a problem for those guys, but the other drivers around them definitely had issues to use it. Looks like the lights are off the pace car, and we're getting ready to go green here again. Michael Mata is going to be the control car. Outside of him, Austin Merrill, Alex Hillman. Heck of a good day for the DDI driver right now. He's in third, Jose Medina fourth. Richard Swingle, Justin Parham, the Venom driver, Kevin Kyle, Eric Thornton, the newly dubbed High Side Hustler, Joe Volpis, 9th, and Matt Fritz, that's Venom again, in 10th. Love to see these teams battling, Zach.
Me too, Mean Gene, and you're right. It's been a lot of drafting has been impactful. A lot of people going for it when I think they had the opportunity to, especially those guys that we saw in that BRL race yesterday. They know what happens late in these runs. They know how difficult it gets to pass. They were going for it while they had the opportunity, and I don't expect anything to change as we go green here. I want to shout out a few drivers here. Hillman and Medina making great progress through the field already. Hillman especially started 8th, already in 3rd, and also Austin Merrill. What a great job by him in 2nd place in the outside lane here.
That car is off, and that pace car is off. Michael Mata, control car on the inside. He's the 16 blue. They go green. Great start. Austin Marrow spun or missed a gear, and that sends Medina into the back of him, outside lane, struggling. That lets Mata get a heck of a good jump, and he's off to a 4-car length lead. Look at Medina cut down low onto that inside. Right now, it's Mata, Hillman, Medina, Marrow, and Justin Parham. That's your top 5. Look at the run by Mata coming off of that start.
I mean, Michael Mata, Mr. First Gear, but I think you were right, Minji. I think it was more than him being Mr. First Gear. I think it was also, I'm pretty sure that Marrow spun the tires there, because look at him all the way now back in 5th place. Hillman able to take advantage of that. Jose Medina able to, as well, to take advantage of that, as the 2 DDI teammates on Sundays racing each other here for 2nd place. Jose Medina.
Zach Tyler is loose. He gets into Beverly. Beverly in the wall. And that's going to bring out your 2nd caution.
Oh, man, Mean Gene. Another one. Oh, and a little bit of extracurricular activity after the caution. Let's take a look at this one.
That restart just messed up the back of the field, and they were 5 wide, 3 deep on the after that initial start going into turn 2.
Oh, yeah, and looking at my data right now, a lot just happened, didn't it? Let's take a look at this one. So I think you were right. It's going to start with the 4 of Tyler. And let's just go slow-mo, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot here. I'll try to guess.
He's already trying to go high.
Here we go.
And on cold tires, look at that. 3 wide, all the way back.
Dirty air everywhere. Not a ton for him, but the dirty air does go upwards. I wish we had those things where we could, like, draw on the screen, you know? Because I'd be pointing.
Yeah, I know. I love to draw shafts and balls.
Oh, yeah, that's why I'd be the one drawing, Mean Gene. Oh, and Stinson comes up a little bit, doesn't he? Sends the 4 around straight into the 25 of Sanders.
And then John Beverly nowhere to go.
No, and that's okay. That's so far so good for the 0-1. Oh, well, I shouldn't have said it. Well, that wall just collected another victim. Jax Duvall, years off his life so far in this race. Hunter Hall scooting through in the top of your screen in that orange and black daily driver's in car. The 19 of Amato as well, able to get through this. Man, I wonder again.
That was just Stinson coming up right there.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely Stinson coming up. I'm also wondering. I'm not putting any blame on Tyler at all here. I don't think he was off the pace, but what I am wondering, Mean Gene, I'm gonna try to take a better look here. Did he even use that fast repair yet? Is there potential of that car being off the pace? Because he may not know the rules. Oh, that is a fast repaired car. That's a shame. That's a shame for Zachary Tyler. Someone we were really excited to watch today. Look how picture perfect that car is. We know.
Yeah, he qualified 11th.
Yeah, and he showed some good speed in practice as well. We know it shouldn't look that good. And yeah, that's just Stinson getting loose. And we talked about that during Zach on Track. It shoots you up a lane or two, and there it is. Tyler just not able to escape as quick as he should have been able to. In the curse of the Zachs, and MRL continues.
Really unfortunate right there for him. And then John Beverly comes right into him as well. Beverly looked like he reduced his speed, so hopefully he'll be able to maintain this thing and just keep it on the straight and narrow. I'll tell you what, though, who this definitely paid off for was, how about Sean Walton? That closes the gap for him, and he's back into the pace. I wanted to say that back on that caution on lap 10.
Right,
but here we are, caution lap 15, and the pack is all pulled up together again. But I don't know. Right now, it doesn't seem what place you're in. You got to deal with that Michael Mata. I mean, he is swerving. I think I hear Ludacris playing in his cockpit.
Move. Yeah, I do as well, Mean Gene. I hear a lot. I hear Swerve Strickland's entrance theme in that cockpit. I hear a lot of things. I see that. I see his hype man dancing in there. That guy is everywhere today. But yeah, good point. Sean Walton, I don't think he got his lap back the hard way on that first run, but it didn't matter because he was the only car a lap down, so he got the lucky dog. And in that small run that we just had, Sean Walton got at least 10 positions. So Sean Walton is showing even Michael Mata, concerning amount of speed right now.
Yeah, and it's never been about his speed. It's just been about his maturity and how he handles adversity. You know, people are going to bump you, especially if you have a reputation of being a bumper yourself. And you know, bumping, rubbing is racing. But at some point, you just have to expect that people are going to give it back to you, and you just have to be able to swallow that pill. So right now, how about some fast movers, huh? Let's take a look. Look at Richard Swingle. He's up 13 spots. currently being shown in 5th. Kevin Brower, KB, he's up 16 spots, currently being shown in 11th. So those are a couple guys on the move. And hopefully after some pit rotations, he'll be able to keep that up. Still a couple of cars in the pits getting some repairs done. Looks like Joe Amato coming out of the pits now. And John Beverly, he as well is coming out of the pits. So everybody looks like they're still on that lead lap. So we still got 29 cars here racing as we're approaching lap 18. Lights are off on the pace car, so I'm expecting them to go green here.
Me and Gene, I am a effing idiot. That was Tony Iverson that whole time in front. That was not Sean Walton. I think Sean Walton kept his lap when he had to start in the pits, and then did work through the field. So Sean Walton has made a lot of passes, but that whole time I was saying that was Sean Walton. That was Tony Iverson. They're confusing me with their stupid Star Wars.
Well, the way that Iverson used his front bumper that last race, I could see why you might have thought it was Sean Walton.
I appreciate the backup, Mean Gene. I really do. And also, our leader taking the outside. That's to be noted as well. As here we go, Mean Gene.
Because he's crazy and he wants to drive on the outside and swerve down and give Hillman a heart attack. Here we go. He's on the outside. Michael Mott in the 16. He goes green. He gets a great jump. Hillman trying to keep up with him. That's Parham on the outside trying to keep up. And there's Mata with the swerve, and he goes down low onto that inside, and then he goes back up high because he loves to swerve. I'm going to call him Swervin' Irvin just for good luck. A little bit of swerving down on the track by the 54 of Jose Medina. Side by side, Parham and Hillman racing for second. Behind them, you can see Medina, then Thornton, and then a little bit of double file with Daniel Smith going side by side with the 97 of Richard Swingle. Mata, though, he is going to lead him going into 3 and 4. It looks like this lap is going to be his.
Yeah, Michael Mata swerves when he drives, doing some super speedway type blocking as they went green there, really trying to kill the air at both lanes. Very interesting from Mata. But Mr. First Gear, as always, just getting the best jumps that we see, especially now that we have guys like Cook not here. And look at, now that we have our eyes on the 13 of Tony Iverson. That's actually Tony Iverson, not Sean Walton. I'm an idiot. But he is making moves through the field, doing a good job. And also, man, Alex Hillman not letting Michael Mata too far away from him, but also now dealing with the 18 of Parham, has done a masterful job working through this field. Parham now trying to put his hat in the ring and get a chance at Michael Mata.
Look at Jose Medina trying to make a run, but he's got Tony Iverson underneath him. Eric Thornton going to put his name in the hat as well, chasing right there. That's 4th, 5th, and 6th place. Lots of movement. Parham swerving down. They must have watched your video, Zach, where you said you got to get it down as low as you can on the start finish and then swerve it right back up high. That can't be good for the tires on an extended lap. We're on lap 21 here after 2 cautions, so I would imagine the tires are going to start screaming real soon if they keep this swerving up.
I wonder if these guys are also thinking, me and Gene, with only an 80-lap race and 1 or 2 more cautions before you have to pit, can you turn this into a one-stopper? I wonder who's going to try to stretch this. We'll have to see. I mean, with the vibe of the field, there's no way we're staying green for another 10-plus laps. These guys are absolutely going for it. As Iverson makes a move on the inside of Parham for 2nd place, as Hillman trying to find anywhere to block the runs coming at him, losing his momentum as he came out of 3 and 4 there with the move that Iverson made. It really is, if you have a pass completed on you and you have to sacrifice something to defend and it doesn't work, you might just get eaten up behind you. Everyone is too close to you. Look at Hillman loose out the corner. Oh, boy.
That's an exciting moment. You know, the strategy that I heard from a YouTuber was don't let people get above you because that's where they're going to pass. But right now we're seeing people passing everywhere. Nobody sticking to any one specific line, making for some very exciting racing. You can see how close Parham, Medina, and Hillman are in that group of 3. Eric Thornton, he ain't scared because he's got his car right in there under that blanket with them as well. Gap closing between Mata and Tony Iverson. But if those other 4 cars can't start some kind of draft, they might fall behind as Iverson and Mata are laying down burners. Iverson now pulling up behind the 16 as they are taking it down the back stretch.
And then Thornton and Amato come just violently close to hitting each other. That closing rate just did not, and the angle did not work at all. And we're going to see more and more of that, Mean Gene, as these tires get older, as these guys lose more and more control exiting these corners. You can see like the one of Thornton there drifting all the way up 3 lanes there. Even Medina there feeling himself drift up, seeing the 11 of Owens responding and getting loose on the outside of the corner. Man, this is getting really wild, and these guys are still going for it the best they can. And in terms of lane choice, what I'm seeing right now, I mean, Gene, is look at Iverson looking for the lead, and what I'm saying right there, it's wherever the other person isn't. It doesn't matter where in the track it is, just wherever they're not. A crossover by Mata as Iverson looked to do the slide job, and Mata having none of it. He's going to try to do the same exact thing to Iverson here.
I think Iverson, though, he's on the outside. Let's see if the YouTuber is correct. They said don't let him get on the outside, and that's where they're going to pass you. Right now, Mata looks like he's got the advantage, but that outside speed of Iverson starts to close in. Big block there by Mata. Hillman below. Iverson cannot employ the crossover, and he's going to lose 2 spots as Hillman continues to apply the pressure. Thornton, Parham also closing in.
Hillman goes for it.
Draft racing.
Look at Hillman on the inside. He's going to probably touch Mata. That was so close. What a masterful job of the 16 of Mata, killing the 08's momentum. And look at the 08 getting eaten up by that one move. That Hillman was right to go for it, but Michael Mata was ready for that move. He was able to defend it, and he's still going to have a chance at Iverson here, trying to rip the top and put the squeeze on, not let Iverson get the exit he wants, but Iverson's going to try to close the door here. Just enough room.
Oh, and then Iverson is going to come down and block. You know, Hillman, he went for the pass. He didn't make it. He got ate up. But kudos to Hillman for being in the middle of dirty air everywhere, and he kept that thing straight, and we did not have a wreck. Look at Iverson hugging that apron. Outside Parham now peeking under Mata for the second and third. There's Hillman. He's part of that. He's forced to let off. And now Parham and Mata side by side. Tony Iverson is your new leader coming down. He's going to get him some points for leading a lap. But look at Hillman, Thornton, and now David Owens is pushing his way up into this top 6. What a great run. Lap 26, and we are pushing it to 40 for the first stage to be over, but there will be no caution. It's just going to be points.
Exceptional job by David Owens to start in this, or with an EOL, have to start all the way in the back of the field and work his way through the hard way. The field only bunched up twice, and that was enough for Owens to get all the way here, making a move for 4th place. David Owens, keep your eye on that 11 car as this race goes on. But Tony Iverson, this guy led the second most laps today. From what I remember, I think I'm right here. I mean, Gene, I think he was like a corner away until David Cook took it away from him. I think it was a tire situation. So that 13 showing the same strength that he had here, and so is Mata and Alex Hillman. He will not be denied. He is resilient right now. He has had so many situations not go his way in this particular run, and he just will not say die. He will not go out to the top 5, and this is the type of Alex Hillman that wins races. Last time I saw him race like this, that he got it done in the end, Mean Gene. He needs to dial in the aggression, but he also needs to stay this resilient. It's been so impressive, and you have no other choice in racing like this. These guys are giving no room, and you have to go for every chance you get. That's going to right there with Mata throwing a huge block.
Wow, you can see Hillman and Thornton side by side, heck of good racing, and then 11 of Owens coming in. Right now, you can see that there's 9 cars in that lead group. Then the 10th car is coming on strong. That is Matthew Fritz coming in, and then Sean Walton has moved his way up into 11th. He would love to close in on those top 10 cars, but 10 cars in that lead group right now battling, and we've seen most of them rotate around. Kevin Brower in that purple car, hard charger at the moment.
Yeah, he is, and David Owens making a gorgeous 3-wide move for the lead. And look at Michael Mata now looking to the lead. Here he is on the inside. Michael Mata wanting the lead back from Iverson. This is really when I think we're going to see it come down to who is somehow, I don't know how you possibly could have, Mean Gene, but somehow saved their tires as Michael Mata reclaims the lead from Tony Iverson. But man, that 11 of David Owens is coming with the head of steam. He has worked his way through the field, and look behind them. Alex Hillman blocking off the top lane. We have 2 lanes of racing behind them. These guys don't want to give up too much of their trap position, but I'm afraid guys like Hillman may have used their stuff up battling with this field, Mean Gene.
And you can see the second group is now closing. There's those top 10, and then the 11th place car, the 31 Pennzoil of Daniel Smith, Sean Walton. That is 11th and 12th. Behind them, Andrew Bolander, Joe Volpis. So that lead car group of 9 is now merging back in. I think you're right about the swerving and the using of tires costing them those positions.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. I mean, Gene, it's got to catch up to you eventually. We are almost to the halfway point of this race. Finally, oh my goodness, we're about to go 3 wide for the lead. I don't know. We can't talk about anything besides the racing on track right now. It's going to be hard to even tell any stories here. As here goes Tony Iverson. I think this is when that line's going to come in, Mean Gene. I think Tony Iverson's going to get a nasty run down this backstretch. But look at Owens all the way to the bottom, 3 wide for the lead. But look at the run by Iverson. That should be enough to clear for the lead. But man, I cannot believe the run that 11 of Owens was able to maintain on the bottom. He's going to try again.
Yeah, but then he's going to have his teammate now of Eric Thornton. Eric Thornton's in that 4th place, #1 white car. He'll push David Owens. Iverson and Owens side by side. Michael Mata swerving. He's up top. He's down below. He'll come back up top. Right behind Owens. That can't be helping with that side drafting. Mata keeps it high. Thornton going to dip down low. But look, we got another white car, the 53 of Colin Bollinger. Where did he come from?
Don't look now, Colin Bollinger, the guy who's now full-time in this series, and man, oh man, is he dangerous. He won the first race of the season. He had no problem winning a race last season with, I think, about, 1 or 2 appearances. He is a dangerous driver, and we all too often see Colin Bollinger appear at this point in the run, late in the run, when the tires are shot for most other people, is when he seems to shine. So watch out for that 53 of Colin Bollinger.
Now, Colin Bollinger, he's one of the wise guys drivers, teammate of Jose Medina, so expect some help from the California driver as well. Right now, Tony Iverson, David Owens, Michael Mata, Eric Thornton, Colin Bollinger's going to move in. Justin Parham behind him, and Daniel Smith has cut his way through traffic to take over the 7th. Hillman has faded a little bit, and he's in a battle now side by side with Sean Walton and Kevin Brower, and there's their names are so similar. Andrew Bolander in that mess as well.
Whoa.
Look at Walton fade up. Mata swerves down quickly to get in the pits. That's going to be your first pit guy on lap 33 with 7 to go until the stage points.
I hope Mata can stay in the lead lap with taking tires and fuel, Mean Gene, because oh my goodness, I'd be shocked if we stay green for much longer. These guys are going absolutely insane, and now we can take our hats off to Sean Walton. He is not far behind David Owens, and he had a far worse situation. He was far further back in the field after that second run, having to get through a lot more cars than Owens, and it's not affecting him much either. Sean Walton up to 6th place. So the 2 guys with penalties today showing tons of strength on the similar paint schemes, which is why I confused him as their teammate earlier. But man, Mean Gene, we are seeing the comers and goers now, and I'm not surprised to see guys like Mata start to bring it in. We also have the 18 of Parham in there, the 01 of Beverly. I'd expect that to open the floodgates and for us to see the rest of this field start to want to come in and not let that undercut affect them too much.
Yeah, they definitely are trying to split this thing into 2 pit stops, and now is the time to do it. They're going for the win and not the stage points. That short pit should help them as far as keeping this thing green. Right now, though, Iverson and Owens hooking it up. Colin Bollinger trying to chase him down. Daniel Smith, great run by that 31 Pennzoil driver. Eric Thornton, and then you can see Sean Walton, little bit of gap behind him to Bolton. Oh my, and look as they cut down tight. I think that's Matt Novella.
It is
3 wide with Brower and Volpus.
And this should be noted, Mean Gene, that did cost them a lap. So Michael Mata a lap down right now. Brower in the wall, and that's what I'm talking about, Mean Gene. If we get this caution now, and that's 4 wide in front of them as well, I don't even know where to look right now. It's insane. And look at who's to the lead, just like that. In the blink of an eye, the 53 of Colin Bollinger is to the lead, the tired wizard.
Yeah, this guy, he won at Charlotte. He knows how to make these cars go fast and go straight. Look down low. Daniel Smith with a big run now. He's going to pass Iverson, and now he's going all the way down to the Auto Club Speedway in almost touching the grass. Look at these 5 cars up front, and here comes the Sean Walton into the picture as well. This is some insane racing. Lap 37, Bollinger almost touches, but he keeps it on the straight and narrow. David Owens leading Daniel Smith. This is lap 37. Lap 40 will give away points side by side, Smith and Owens.
I would not pit yet, Mean Gene. This is way too crazy to afford going a lap down. Look at the 13 of Iverson floating up into the 53 of Bollinger. He needs to get that underneath him, and wow, and just like that, that. Sean Walton, and right behind him, Bolander. These guys have done a masterful job of working through the field, and then to the lead now, Daniel Smith to the lead. He was in 7th place a few laps ago. We're seeing the type of coming and going like at a super speedway right now, Mean Gene.
Daniel Smith, he's got no teammates out there. He's got a Cougar in the car and a pack of Lucky Charms in a bag underneath, and that's all he needs right now. He is sponsored by me, and that me is up in the lead coming out of turn 4. He holds this thing. He'll get some points for leading the lap. Owens, though, he's got that speed on the outside. Smith is going to need to just ride it up a little bit. It's going to be close, and he is. He's going to get a point for leading.
And Daniel Smith, he doesn't know that those are Lucky Charms yet. He definitely thinks it's the first thing, Mean Gene. He's driving like from the cops, like he has some burial. Oh, Owens in the wall. Owens went for it on the outside. He sent it too deep. He's going to have to hug the wall. Oh, my gosh.
Walton barely notices and doesn't kill Owens.
Amazing.
Owens fading back.
Amazing evasive move by Walton. Wow, what good presence of mind by the 23 of Walton. He had about a millisecond to react to it, and that was all it took. He got it done as the 31 of Smith continues to lead this race. And look at Bolander, look at the inside of Iverson. Iverson, the only car I'm still seeing, Mean Gene, that was in the early goings of this battle that's still been able to be here and not completely burned his stuff up or made it cost an issue like it did with Owens. And there goes Medina exiting the pits there. Medina exiting the pits.
David Owens now stuck back in traffic with his former teammates Novella and Vulpes. Those guys are East Coast Alliance, no more Gulf Coast Racing. So we'll see how they welcome him back onto the couch to play this simulator. Up front, though, Daniel Smith, the privateer. He doesn't need a team. Heck, he's going to be the captain of the team the way he's racing. But he's being chased down by Andrew Bolander, Colin Bollinger, and Tony Iverson. Sean Walton moving his way up into 5th. Going to be fascinating to see where these people are, especially when the short pit guys with those faster laps rotate around on this fuel run. Look at Owens again. Again, Novella gets by without a problem. And now Vulpes has to deal with his former Gulf Coast teammate, and he just wiggles around. Owens has got to be thinking about that pit right about now.
It's pit time. I was about to say that. It's pit time for the 11 car. What else do you need? What other signs do you need? I guess besides that 3-wide group behind you, that it's time to pit, David Owens. Man, that thing is not doing what he wants it to, but look at this behind him. I get it, though, Mean Gene. Oh, my goodness. You're going to go a lap down if you pit, and it's, I would not be thinking that we're not going to get a caution here. That's Michael Mata right there in the 16 in front of them. He has pit. He has not gotten his lap back the hard way yet. I'm also thinking, Mean Gene, there's a chance that Michael Mata's looking at that field in front of him thinking, you know what, screw that. No way. I'll wait for them to figure it out. And then I'll wait for them to pit and hope they don't wreck, because, oh, man, getting through this field is not going to be an easy task, even with newer tires. These guys are just going every which way, every corner, not committing to any lines. Wherever there's clean air, that's where they're going.
Tony Iverson did choose to pit right there, leaving behind his high side slider teammate. Right now, 21 cars on the lead lap. Parham is the first car who pitted, running 22nd, but he is behind 7 cars trying to close that gap. You can see him under Vulpes, and he's got those fresher tires now, shooting underneath Fritz, shooting under Bolander. So Parham trying to get his lap back the old-fashioned way, and that shows the advantage of the short pit.
It does, Mean Gene, but man, it puts you in the hornet's nest with all these guys. And I think what also might not be, or will be a huge takeaway with this strategy, Mean Gene, is to get around these guys. And look at this, there's so few lines available to you because everyone's going for it. That's going to cost you that tire advantage because you're going to be using so much of your tires adjusting your lanes mid-corner. That's what I said is rule number 1. When you're in that corner, lock it down. Don't change your steering angle. That is one of the best ways to kill your tires and ruin your run, and you don't have a choice when guys are taking up your lane midway through the corner like we're seeing right here.
Yep, Walton in front of him, and he's got Bollinger underneath him. Nowhere that he could go right there. So he is kind of stuck on that outside trying to make a move, and he's pinned in now by those slower cars.
Watch how miserable this is for Mata. We'll keep our camera on Mata, and look at what he's doing with all these cars in front of him have older tires besides the 13 of Iverson. And oh, sorry, that's not the I give up. But besides, and no one in front of him has new tires. And look how difficult it still is, though, Mean Gene. He's not getting the run on the 54. Actually, Medina with a few lap older tires in him, but these guys are having the worst time getting through this field. And look in front of them, another 3-wide group.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be part of that. Bolander and Smith fighting for the lead, trying to get up between the Mata and the 18 of Parham, trying to get around. Smith and Bolander, those are your leaders. Three yellow cars in the lead blocking.
Jose sends them 3 wide, a lap down with Michael Mata also making it nearly impossible. This 8 and the 31 cannot appreciate this, Mean Gene.
Well, you know, you're racing, you're trying to win, and you don't want to go laps down. And that's what we're seeing. Daniel Smith on the outside is your leader. Michael Mata looks like he's in second, but he's just on fresh tires. Cuts down in front of Medina. Parham now going to pull up behind. Mata finally gets his lap back. That is still going to make your leader Daniel Smith. Jose Medina, he's trying to keep it just 1 lap down now by staying in front of your leader Daniel Smith. Parham side by side with Smith trying to get around. I think Medina needs to recognize that he is on the same tires as Mata and Parham. That's not who you're racing, buddy. You're trying to stay ahead of the 31.
I agree, Mean Gene. Why does it matter? You got your lap back. It doesn't matter if the 16's in front of you. That's not going to matter on a restart. This is just unnecessary for the leaders. And this is the type of thing that can come back to bite you in the rear end if you're in this situation later in the race. If your strategy ends up working, you are not going to appreciate with the 31, the 8 due to you in return late in the race.
Yeah, there's so many cars, it might be difficult to figure that out. Medina, though, he's a driver, and he just wants to get up.
Drivers don't forget me, Gene. They'll know.
Look at Parham and Mata, though. Even though they are not in the lead, they are the cars that have pitted that are the furthest up in the pack. Somebody else of note I'd like to give a shout-out to. How about Zach Tyler back there? He has managed to keep it on that lead lap, running 14th right now. A little bit behind, but after all of his early troubles, he's managed to find a spot on the track to keep it going.
Good shout, Mean Gene. That's a great shout, actually. That's really impressive by the 4 of Tyler. That car using its faster power already, then getting damaged, so likely having to get it repaired in the pits and not having a ton of time to do it. So that car likely not fully healthy. As you see Bolander coming down already committing to a low lane. What that tells me, Mean Gene, is this will be the last lap that he spends on this racetrack on this set of tires. The 8 going to likely bring it in here, already backing it in. Let's hope for a clean entry by Bolander, last year's stage winner. And I meant to say this, Mean Gene, I hope you knew who led it on lap 40 because I have no clue. That was too intense.
Daniel Smith, congratulations. He took that one.
Hey, thank you for that data, and congratulations to Daniel Smith in his first MRL stage win. That's a big deal, man. Good job.
Yeah, you know, he did get second at Charlotte, so he is a fast guy. Definitely has the testicular fortitude to keep that thing wide open on the outside. So all these guys starting to rotate around, and we're slowly seeing who is going to be in the front once these pit stop rotations take part. Right now, though, Matt Novella being shown in the lead. He's going to get him some points, and now he's going to bring it down into the pit. Good job by Matt on lap 49.
And that will give the lead to Kevin Kyle. Has won last week's winner in this league. Kevin Kyle stretching it the most they can. This is a completely different. Let me double check what I'm saying is true. Yes, it is. This is completely different than last night, Mean Gene. Yesterday on the BRL, Kevin Kyle went to the top early, and because of that, he really had to bring it in early. He could not really trust those tires to get himself around the track anymore. And today, we were talking earlier, he had a huge focus on making these runs last and stretching these runs, being able to go to the top when people didn't have the confidence to anymore.
Mata loose. He keeps it on the straight and narrow. That was a scary moment. He got some of Medina's dirty air. So Medina trying to stay ahead of Mata and Parham. Those Mata and Parham are gonna be your leaders once this thing rotates around, but he is trying to stay ahead of those two guys.
Yes, he is. Medina is, and I'm assuming he must have had an issue in the pits based on where he's running. I'm trying to figure this out on the pylon here, but that must be why Medina was being so aggressive, and yet it is, and I apologize to Jose Medina for that. That's why you need to be in front of this group. He needed that lap back. I was thinking he was racing Mata Namato, trying to make sure that he had that lap back from the leaders there, like we were talking about, me and Gene, but no, it's another lap. Exactly. So he needs to stay in front of the 18 and 16 to have any chance at this thing. That is, like you said, Amato, I think, will inherit the lead of this race. I'm sorry, Parham will. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Amato would have been the leader. He just went into the pits. That's going to be everybody now. The rotations are done. And after the rotations, we are here on lap 51, and your leader is going to be Justin Parham. He's being chased down by Michael Mata. 2 seconds behind them, Thornton and Iverson. Another 2 seconds back, Hillman and Daniel Smith. David Owens, even after his early trouble late in that green flag run, Owens is 7th, Colin Bollinger 8th, Joe Volpus 9th, and Sean Walton, he of the front bumper, running 10th.
And then behind them are the guys who stretched the pit cycle there the longest. Kevin Kyle in 11th, and right below him for 12th place is Bolander. So, and what it's sticking out to me, Mean Gene, is not just the the position differential since we cycled out here, but the time. Are you seeing that pile on the left side of our screen there? From Parham to, let's just say, Bollinger, 8 seconds.
You think they can make that up, though, by staying out later? The short pit costs you, but these guys are putting in 40 laps on these tires.
Looking at my data here, let's go Bollinger, 48. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
in theory,
yeah.
They could.
Oh, yeah.
These guys can run this thing out to the end of the race at this point.
I don't know if Parham and Mata can, Mean Gene. Lap 33 was their pit lap. That's a lot of laps to ask out of this thing.
Yeah, 47 laps. We're running 80 here today, so that is going to be tough on some of those guys. But the fellas that just came in, minus a caution, that is a heck of a position to be in.
Yeah, I'd say Tony Iverson is our first car that can truly win this race. He pit on lap 41, so that's a 39 lap run. I think we saw yesterday that is possible. Behind that is the 47 pit, so absolutely has enough. That's Daniel Smith. So Daniel Smith also in the catbird seat here.
Well, I'll tell you who's begging for a caution right now, besides the guys short on fuel. That's got to be Jose Medina. He's had a good run. He was up there with those guys early, but now finds himself being chased down like a ghost that just turned purple in Pac-Man, and he's got Parham on him. Parham wiggled a little bit, touched the wall, but Jose Medina, he's got some driving to do if he wants to earn this thing back. No way he's getting it back the old-fashioned way. He needs a little bit of help. Behind him, you can then see Michael Mata, Parham, then Mata, Tony Iverson, also starting to close that gap on these guys. Little side-by-side racing there with Mata, and looks like the 01 of John Beverly.
Yeah, we still have a little bit of side-by-side racing, particularly, yeah, like you said, towards the middle of the pack, especially with guys like Beverly. And also, I mean, Gene, cars starting to get lapped here as well, just purely on speed and pit cycling. So this will get fishy here. I'm super, super curious to see if we get a caution or not. A little bit surprising we haven't so far. I almost think they can go green here based on what they've already showed us earlier in the race and how insane it got, and now it's a little bit more tame as you see here. And you're also hearing a lot of off throttle. If you listen closely, I'll crank up the audio for you guys here. We'll do some MRL. Crank it up here, Mean Gene.
Contact.
Oh, no!
Contact. The 8 of Bolander. He's around. Looks like Stephen Neal. Walton also involved.
Oh. Okay, so Bollinger. Oh, yeah, definitely did. Bolander. Oh, my gosh. Definitely damage there. Walton as well. Let's take a look at this. Man, Mean Gene, we were just talking about that may have been an announcer's jinx right there.
No, or a blessing. I don't know. I've got a cat emergency over here. I'm going to have you take the viewers through this accident.
Oh, God. Best of luck to you with your cat, Mean Gene. As so our camera here putting us on Sean Walton, we don't really have any data indicating the actual wreck. We did see it on screen there. But I'm going to go real time for us real quick here, guys. Here's Walton coming through as the yellow comes out. Novella 2 is inside. 3 wide there with Bolander. I think this might be where it happens, guys. So we got a 3 wide situation here on corner exit between Bolander, Novella, and Walton. Walton grazes the wall, comes down. Oh, man. And there it is. You guys have heard me criticize Sean Walton a decent amount this season already, but this will not be one of those times. This is absolutely anything that could happen to, or something that could happen to anybody, especially in the situation you're going for it. Let's take a closer look at this here. I'll try to get us the best look I can. Hold on just a sec. But yeah, Sean Walton had done a great job driving through the field today and was just absolutely sending it there in a very tense 3 wide situation. As let's take a look at this again. Very, very close here. Hopefully I can get us a good shot as they come together. So what I think we're going to see happen here, guys, is Walton's going to come to the outside and graze that outside wall. And so often when that happens, it just shoots you down the track, and it's just all too late once it happens. So here comes Walton. As you can see that 23 already loose up the track. Into the wall it goes. Walton tries to correct it. Comes down just about half a lane, and the room just isn't there. Very much a racing deal in my opinion. And that is going to collect the Ada Bullender as well as Mean Gene insinuated. And down they go. And Novella up the track into the 20. Oh, that's... Who is that right there? I'll have to get eyes on who that was. But, man, an innocent victim there. And just one of those things that we've seen happen all too often at a track like this. Because I believe that may have been Sanders who was collected in that. Oh, and look, you just see right there how fast that happens as they get it together after there. One of those things, but nonetheless, that's going to make this race far more even as we go to the final stage of it. We'll put our cameras on live here and see who took this time to pit. As Kevin Kyle looks like he might be inheriting the lead of the race here. Kevin Kyle stretched that last pit cycle as far as he possibly could. And that's why he's inheriting that lead. He did stay out. And it looks like some of the cars later in the field chose to pit here. We will have a clearer view of it as they cross the line here. And we'll also see if the pace car takes its lights off.
Tell you what, that was some exciting stuff right there.
Yeah, it was. Crazy wreck there, Mean Gene. And now look who's got the lead. Last week's winner.
Oh, Kevin. Not a fluke.
Not a fluke. All right, lights off. I'll be right back as well, Mean Gene. So you lead them to green. And, man, we got a situation here, don't we?
I'll tell you what. There's some exciting racing right now. We're on lap 59. Remember, we're going to lap 80. So everybody should have enough gas to make it to the end. Fuel no longer an issue. Tires should be fresh. Question is, what's going to happen with some of these more aggressive drivers that we've seen today? Michael Mata, he's not been afraid to move that nose around Sean Walton. He's got a reputation for being a wild man. We haven't seen him do anything out of the hand yet, but we're always waiting for it. Teammates could also come into this situation as well. People making space. Remember last week, Kevin Kyle pushed by Austin Marrow up into that outside lane where Joe Volpes propelled him up to that victory. So teammates could come into this. Lights are off on the pace car as they're coming down that backstretch into turn 3. Right now, your leader, Kevin Kyle, Jax Duvall, front row, Justin Parham, Brandon Guerin, Michael Mata, Stephen Neal, Eric Thornton, Tony Iverson, Daniel Smith, David Owens. That's going to be your top 10. Kevin Kyle choosing that outside lane. He is a professional at riding that outside lane. Some people call it the Larson lane. Let's see what happens. Duvall gets a little bit ahead of
Green flag,
him. He's going to have to slow up, and that is going to give Kyle the opportunity to get an amazing run. Kyle with a heck of a jump, so fast that he's going to bring Parham with him. Parham is side by side with Duvall. Michael Mata, Brandon Guerin side by side, Eric Thornton single file, and then you can see Owens and Iverson teammates side by side, 7th and 8th. Behind them you can see Daniel Smith, Stephen Neal, and then it is just a nest of hornets.
Oh man,
Owens into the wall, and that is going to give a hook up there to Joe Volpes and Matthew Fritz as they try to keep their cars going straight. But up front, you can see Kyle utilizing that outside lane already coming out of turn 4, and he is going to lead coming across lap 60.
Kevin Kyle using that outside lane to his advantage, and yeah, I think there's a magnet attached to that 11 car, and there's magnets on the wall as well, because that thing could not stay up the wall today. Owen just having the hardest time. But oh my goodness, as Mata gets into the 18 right there, the 16 of Parham, and man, the intensity is full tilt here as one of Thornton shoots the middle, 3 wide.
And Michael Mata is also making aggressive moves out there. Caution on the track.
Don't see it. Oh, Austin Marrow, Jose Medina, and Zachary Tyler are what I see on screen here. Here we go.
Yeah, that's going to be our 4th caution here on lap 61.
And just like last year, I think they might start to stack up here, and we'll talk about that during this caution, but let's take a look at this first. As it's Daniel Smith. Oh, this is going to be so unfortunate if Smith is a part of this. He's had such a good run today, Mean Gene. And Here we
Yep,
go.
just
Will
kind of
something
watching
happen?
it here with you viewers.
Yes, we are. I'm looking in front of him a little bit. No, that's our leader, so I don't think it's going to be there. I'll just go live real quick. Let's or not live. Let's go real time.
See Vulpus on the outside. You can see behind him.
I saw that close right there. Oh, it's behind them. I see Marrow in there.
Oh, that's way back in the pack.
Way back. So let's go to Marrow quick, and let me go back a little bit. Let's do some investigating, yeah? Oh, I think we had a 4 wide here, didn't we?
They're not scared.
They are not, and maybe they should have been. As Hunter Hall split in the middle, on the inside we got Jack Sanders, the outside Zachary Taylor. Welcome to the MRL. And then it looks like Jose Medina may try to create a lane in here as well, and with no room to spare at all, Austin Marrow right on the inside of Medina. Just a lot going on here as we get to the exit of the corner. I'm looking to the outside as well. That's Brower. We are essentially 4, nearly 5 wide here. This is insanity. Where is it going to start? Who's going to get loose? I see Medina a tiny bit loose on the inside there. Mean Gene. I see Marrow a little loose as well. That's understandable on the inside, but nothing devolving yet. Taylor
Here comes Tyler.
Tyler shoots the middle. Oh, Tyler. I think Tyler may have gone for a lane that wasn't there, Mean Gene. Let's go the far chase.
Did he hit Hunter and then go into Duval?
So we'll go to the end all be all angle now that we have the culprit. Let's take a look here. So here we go, out of the corner. Is he loose? He could be loose. We saw that in the last wreck that shoots you down the track that happened to Walton. I mean, Medina's coming up, but that's kind of what happens. Like, that's the angle of the corner, right? It's not so much the angle of the corner to drive down it. Not putting too much on Tyler there, but a lot of things coming together there, man, Jane.
Yep. Right now it looks like pits are open. Matthew Fritz, Jack Sanders going to take this opportunity.
So while we have a second, I made the graphic. So let's talk about last week. I mean, I'm sorry, last year.
Hey, there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, David, where are you, brother? Come on, buddy.
Where art thou? But what sticks out to me when I look at this one, Mean Gene?
David Cook won the most races for us last year. He's taken a little sabbatical this year, but we're hoping to see him in a part-time capacity before the end of the year. Andrew Bolander, stage winner. Man, that's not a surprise. And Buddy Sully, that guy took more poles than anybody last year, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He really did. But this is what sticks out to me right below Buddy Sully, is the amount of leaders we had and the lack of laps led by anybody. It was also an 80-lap race last season, but as you can see there, no one even leading a fourth of the race. We had 10 leaders total, and all of them leading a good chunk. I mean, 17 being the most with Iverson. 8 cautions as well. Would not be surprised if we can catch up to that number in these last 17 laps. But really what that shows me is what we've seen today, Mean Gene, which is so many comers and goers. So many guys coming throughout the field to lead some laps and have a chance of winning this race.
And looks like not a lot of people taking this opportunity to pit either. They are staying out with only 16 laps remaining in this race. Ooh, little check up there. Jax Duval in second place, kind of tapping the brakes, causing that inside row to back up.
Sounds like Jax, but Jax Duval on the inside line now with Kevin Kyle, our leader, so he's electing to hit the outside. That's been the theme we've seen all day.
He can hold it, right? He can hold this for 16 laps.
I would not be surprised in the slightest if he could. I'm looking at my pit lap data, and unless I'm going crazy, like, yeah, he could do this. It's only 7 laps, Mean Gene. A lot of them are under caution. Kevin Kyle could easily do this.
Other people to pay attention to, though. You got Thornton, who's been so fast all day. Parham, Michael Mata's right there. He's been fast. How about Iverson? Hey, look at that. Stephen Neal making his way up. 17-point improvement to be in 8th. Brandon Guerin, a 22-point improvement to be in 6th. So we got some Chargers, as well as the guys that have just been here all day. Other people, Vulpus, Daniel Smith, David Owens. So the pace car is off. We are about to go green. Kevin Kyle leading him around. He's on the outside. Great jump there by Kevin Kyle. So fast, he's going to bring Thornton with him. Thornton goes side by side with Jax Duval. Opens up the gap for Parham to go high. Mata also goes up high into 6th place to be on that outside lane. Kyle's going to hold the outside lane.
Oh, no!
Duval makes contact with Thornton. Thornton trying to hold on, and that's going to cause cars to back up. Parham turns sideways.
Oh,
by
gosh!
Parham in the wall. And now Daniel Smith is spinning.
Oh, man, just absolute mayhem to the point where it's like nearly breaking my computer, Mean Gene. Oh, my God, look at this.
Daniel Smith sideways full stop. He makes contact with Hillman. Hillman also sideways full stop. So a lot of contact. You know, we were about to say, hey, there was 8 cautions last year. We've only had 4. Looks like we're doing better. But instead, we might be saying, godly gee, we've got 4 more to go.
Yes.
That's your 5th caution of the day here on lap 65.
That one was an ugly one too, Mean Gene. That one collected a lot of cars. That one was so ugly that it looked like it almost crashed my computer. I hope we can watch it. Let's try to take a look at this, of what happened here. What a massive one this was. And I think it did all start with that Thornton and Jax Duvall incident. As we're halfway through the field here at this point. And I think, so we have our eyes on Hall here. I'm going to try to go a little bit further up the field to Swingle. Here we go. Already devolving in front of them. See the 45 up top, and it just, oh wow, you see Parham up there, and look at that. It just completely sketched out my computer. I mean, we don't get to watch that one.
Well, there were 24 cars on the lead lap. Austin Marrow looks to be the lucky dog. We're going to keep an eye on him and see if he is the guy that gets to shoot around. And that would put 25 cars on the lead lap. But we have to pay attention to the damage that was taken, especially from Hillman and Daniel Smith. Those 2 guys full stop sideways. Going to be interesting to see how much damage they've had. Daniel Smith right now being shown in the pits. Hillman still making his way around, but I see him coming into the pits now, along with Steve Lewis and Hunter Hall.
Yeah, that's what the best we can do right now with the lack of footage we have is keep an eye on the damage, exactly like you said, Mean Gene, because that is going to change the races for a lot of our fast drivers today. The big one that stuck out to me that I saw in the middle of that one getting hit every which way was the 31 at Daniel Smith. That guy has not been able to catch a break this season yet. He is, whether it be a disconnection or a late race caution, has just had so much speed, but not the finishes to show for it. But wow, this really does completely turn our field upside down, Mean Gene. A lot of drivers are going to have a chance to win this one. And what this caution also does, it just keeps making laps tick off. And before we know it, we're going to be towards the end of this thing. Only 14 to go now, and the lights are still on.
Lots of people taking this opportunity to pit from 18th back. Looks like Jay Stinson, Justin Parham, Richard Swingle. Hillman coming out of the pits now. He's got Stephen Neal with him and Steve Lewis. So Neal, Hunter, and Marrow now finally gets that car rolling.
Yes, he does. A lot of cars, I'm assuming, that have already used their fast repair and now just having to deal with what they have, having to have made their bed and have to sleep in it now with the amount of damage they have.
Daniel Smith looks like he's a lap down. He's being shown a lap down now. So unfortunate turn of events for the 31 Toyota driver.
Yeah, I mean, this race is becoming more and more about survival as it goes on, Mean Gene. And really, yeah, if it will still roll, like the guys that you still see trying to get their damage fixed to the point where they can just finish the race, that can get you positions in a race like this. We've seen it time and time again, especially in this league. As we get closer and closer to the end of the race, it only gets more intense and more crazy. And what's this saying? Checkers, or was it cautions breed cautions?
Cautions breed cautions. And this caution brought to you by Chantilly Lace. Chantilly Lace is our sponsor for this 4th season of Monday Night Mayhem. I want to give a big thank you to them as we are able to bring you the broadcast. You've got Mean Gene Money and Zach Panzarella here live from Auto Club. We are under our 5th caution here on lap 68. This race is scheduled to go 80. Everyone should have plenty of fuel now. Tire situation should be locked in, but God knows, cautions breed cautions.
Yeah, I mean, if enough guys keep getting collected and you can stay in the lead lap and be in, like, what, say 14th? Do it. Get those tires. Oh, my goodness. 5 laps will make a difference, Mean Gene. Whether it be 2 or 3 tenths a lap, that will add up in 10 laps. But I still like what Kevin Kyle's doing. But look who has made his way through the field and has not collected damage yet. That's 16 on Michael Mata.
Mata's so aggressive at the beginning. Got to keep an eye on that number 16 car. Looks like Austin Marrow will be the last car in the lead lap. 24 cars on the lead lap. After that, Daniel Smith and Steve Lewis and Zach Tyler will be racing each other to try to be the lucky dog if there is another caution. Right now, we are going green. Kevin Kyle on the outside. He gets a jump. Good jump, creates a gap, and Jax Duvall is going to fill it. Michael Mott is in third, but he is not content to play follow the leader. He swerves down hard to the inside. then back to the outside. Down below, Tony Iverson is going to cut down onto the apron. Iverson side by side with Mata. He's going to slide job. Mata's into the wall. Owens into the back of Mata. Joe Volpus below those two guys. That momentum, though, Owens just ends up pushing Mata. It's not a wreck. It's just a bump trap. Iverson goes down to the apron. Kyle on the outside. Duval is currently your leader.
Oh my goodness.
Contact between Iverson and Duval as they come across the start-finish line. Jax Duval leads lap 70, but look at Iverson and Kyle side by side.
Duval had a plan there right from the get-go. He won the outside lane. He saw what happened the restart before. He didn't want to be taking advantage of his. Iverson looks to the inside now, repays the favor to Duval, throws the slide job in, cuts his line off, and wants the push from Duval. He has every right to do that. Duval did the exact same thing to him through 3 and 4 the lap before, but you could tell Duval wanted the outside right away, and he made it work. He knew that's where he had to pass Kyle, but Duval getting taken advantage of there from Iverson. Iverson with by far the best tire advantage out of these three drivers right here, so I'd expect Iverson here to drive away, and what he really does not want to see is what's going on behind him. Look at all this craziness, and what I'm saying too, Mean Gene, Jose Medina back in the lead lap.
Yeah. That is some amazing driving by Iverson. And right now, David Owens also trying that same strategy, that high side hustler teammate of cutting down to the apron in the middle and then bringing it back up. He's side by side. Owens is with Kevin Kyle. Leader, Iverson. Second place, Duval, Kevin Kyle, Owens. And then that purple car of Kevin Broward leading that second group. Jose Medina making contact with Andrew Bolander. Joe Volpus is in this hot mess. There's Parham, Colin Bollinger, and then the 26 of Mason Smalley. That's your top 11, and these guys are in their own little group.
Look at the
chasing
ball.
These boys down.
Look at Duval getting a run on Iverson. I don't know where that came from. He has, more than 10 lap older tires, and it doesn't matter. Jax Duval absolutely going for it. I'm wondering if Iverson missed his line the lap before, but it doesn't matter. Here comes Duval with a head of steam, and also David Owens there on the inside looking for third place on Kevin Kyle. No one here wanting to give an inch. All these guys with different tire situations, different lines that they're comfortable with, trying to put someone in a situation they're uncomfortable with.
Keeping an eye on David Owens, you have to wonder if that tire advantage is gone, that he's trying that slide job. Kyle taps the wall to avoid Owens coming up. Owens doesn't come up. Look at the dicing for the lead. Iverson and Duval. Iverson is definitely racing with his rear view mirror right now. Lap 73. We've got 7 to go. Iverson cuts down hard and late in that turn. You've got to wonder if Duval will have that speed on the outside lane. He makes the cross.
Oh my
down
goodness.
Hard block by Iverson.
Insane
side
block.
By side.
Insane block by Iverson. Unnecessary block by Iverson. And Duval, understandably, super unhappy about that. Throws him all the way up the track. That was not the right move by the 13 of Iverson. He really just should have gone on the track and minimized the damage. And Duval and Owens now... Iverson and Owens now side by side, but Duval took advantage of that. It's going to be a 3-wide move here. I do not think Duval is over this yet. Expect Duval here to lean on Iverson in the top of the track, but watch out for Owens. He's going to go for the slide job here.
And now you can
like
see
I said,
Iverson and Duval up top. Kevin Kyle is a victim of this battle. Down below, Owens sneaks by. He brings the A to Bolander with him. New leader is David Owens. Andrew Bolander second, being pushed by Duval, who is side by side with Tony Iverson. Colin Bollinger is making his way up into the top 5, but he's side by side with Kevin Broward. Broward now in the picture. Kevin Kyle making a run. These tires are starting to be in effect. I see wiggling by Duval there, Zach.
Oh, I do too, me and Gene. Those tires are getting older and older. I think Bolander should be able to complete this. I don't know why Owens went to the bottom there once he got the lead. It absolutely cost him and allowed Bolander to do this. You can't do that. It's killing these runs on the other side, on the back stretch of the front stretches. They go 3 wide, and now Bolander are entering the conversation. Bolander and Bollinger here out of nowhere, like always. Always the best at protecting their tires, and they have some of the best tire situations out of this group here. These guys can absolutely take advantage of these guys, and look at how crazy this is. All they got to do is keep it straight. It's going to be 5 to go this time across the line.
Look, 3 wide. Look how tight it is with Sean Walton making contact with Jose Medina and Duval. This is a situation of mess around and find out. These boys have been messing around, and that's allowed cars like Medina and Walton to close the gap. Bolander battling Owens. Owens in that middle line is going to have better momentum. This is lap 76. There's going to be 4 laps to go.
Walton and Medina.
Once they cross it, Medina and Walton really making contact. You can see Joe Volpe is caught up into this mess as well, as he's trying to stay behind Walton and not get on his front bumper. How about Kevin Brower in this down on the apron as well? So 4 cars in the front all bumping, and then a couple of single file, and then 3 wide behind them.
I criticize Owens for not managing the run, but what he is doing a masterful job of controlling the air, really trying to protect this lead. It's going to be Iverson now looking to the inside, his new teammate. I'm curious to see how these two race each other, me and Gene. I can't wait to see how this goes. Owens really giving him the inside, and Iverson easily completes the pass. I don't know how that's going to work out for them. Iverson with some of the oldest tires in this group that might make this group a sitting duck. They might be trying to work together and be able to, nope, I'm wrong. There goes Owens to the inside.
No, I think you're 100% right. I think that was a gentleman agreement. Owens clearly let off the throttle to let Iverson slide up the track there. Iverson, though, you can see how loose that car is.
Good catch by Iverson there. Great catch.
Right now, he and Owens going to glide back up. Bolander in the mix, though. I think Owens wanted to block, but Bolander on the fresher tires than Tony Iverson now on the apron. Owens, he can't look out for the well-being of his teammate. He's got to slide up and take that preferred lane on the outside.
Oh my goodness.
By Iverson. He's still got enough tires to pull a Michael Mata-esque move and put himself side by side with the aid of Bolander. Kevin Kyle's still in the mix. Colin Bollinger is now 3 wide with Jax Duvall and Sean Walton. Walton coming on strong has now moved himself into 6th
Kyle
place.
loose.
Only 2 laps to go.
Walton trying to shoot the gap, but Kyle gets loose out the corner, and Owens and Iverson, the teammates, controlling this race with only 2 to go. They need to get the white flag, and then they can figure out amongst themselves. But oh my goodness, Iverson putting all the pressure on Owens, trying to shoot him up the track, get to the bottom, and take the bottom through 3 and 4. We'll see if this works out for him. Owens, again, a masterful job controlling the lead, controlling his speed, making sure to control the air. All he has to do is do it for 1 more corner.
We need to pay attention to what Jose Medina and Sean Walton do here. Those are the guys that are pressing really hard. Those are the guys that ain't afraid to use their front bumper. And no sooner do I say it than Walton smashes into Bolander and starts spinning.
And around goes Walton.
Out of control.
Will they get?
They're still going.
They're
Will
still
the
going.
Caution be thrown?
It will not. I do not think it will be. It will not. They're gonna let them race to the green here, me and Gene. It's going to be.
Let's look to the front. David Owens still in the lead. Tony Iverson, Andrew Bolander. This is basically a 3-car race. The question is, does Iverson have the tires to take Owens on the inside? Andrew Bolander, he's in 3rd. You can see now Iverson side by side with Owens. Will he slide up or will he hold that apron? Bolander backs off to get a strong run. Iverson side by side. David Owens on the outside does make contact with the wall, maintains his momentum, and your winner.
Wow.
David Owens is going to take the win. High side hustlers 1 and 2. David Owens, Tony Iverson, Andrew Bolander's going to come in 3rd. What an amazing series of events as Walton makes contact with Colin Bollinger to turn that thing into a shootout.
What an insane finish. That caution could not have come out a second sooner, me and Gene, or else we would have had a overtime restart to decide this, but it came out just at the right time. That's an update that iRacing recently made, actually, that allows them to recognize that and allow them to race to the green as they would in real life, and that's what we just saw. And what we got from it was an insane finish between 2 teammates racing each other with the utmost class, and that's what you get. And we wondered how it would work out, and we just saw, me and Gene. I'd be worried if I'm the rest of the field here with this dominant force here.
Oh, and then once they added
that one right there.
Yeah, and once they added their new teammate of Eric Thornton, who was 6th in points, that team all of a sudden becomes a Goliath. So final finish, you got David Owens as your winner, Tony Iverson 2nd, Andrew Bolander 3rd, Kevin Kyle 4th, Joe Volpus is going to get a top 5, Kevin Brower is in 6th, Eric Thornton 7. That is the number 3 driver from Highside Hustlers. Joe Amato 8, Mason Smalley 9, and Jay Stinson holds on to hit a top 10.
Yeah, sorry guys, I was showing you guys the qualifying results. There we go. In 11th place, we got Jose Medina. In 12th, Justin Parham. 13th, Matthew Fritz. 14th, Sanders. Great recovery from him. 15th, Hillman. So much speed from that guy. He will get the finish soon. 16th to Richard Swingle. 17th, Bollinger. Oh man, he was right there at the end.
Oh yeah,
clearly
him and
corrected
Walton
that wreck.
got wacky.
They did. And then Merrow in 18th. As we continue to look at the rest of this field.
Yep. Hunter Hall is going to finish 19. Stephen Neal 20th. Sean Walton, he made contact with Colin there and is going to finish in 21st.
And then behind there, we got Jax Duvall, another guy, Mean Gene, we saw right there behind with John Walton, 22nd.
He was a lap down, too. That's crazy.
I'm assuming that's he didn't get back around. The car had to be towed, is what I'm guessing there. Didn't even get to the start-finish line. Brandon Guerin in 23rd. Daniel Smith, 24th. Another guy. So much speed today. We know that finish is coming. 25th, Steve Lewis. Michael Mata ends up at 26th after having one of the fastest cars today. Same goes for Zachary Tyler with a great rookie race here today. John Beverly, 28th, and Matt Novella rounding out our field in 29th.
Ooh, I don't want to influence your bonus interview, but I'm curious what happened to Mata. That was crazy.
Yeah, me too. Do it.
You do get a bonus. You do get the bonus, the surprise interview. Who
I like your idea.
Who do you want to pull in?
I like your idea.
You want to put him on the spot and see what he did?
Let's do it.
All right, I'm going to look up there and see if I can hunt him down. There he is. Oh, he's by himself too up there. He doesn't have any teammates. I'm going to pull him down. Oh, he's hiding. All right, go for it.
Michael Mata, we got you, man.
Hey.
Wow. That was a race, and as usual, you were one of our fastest cars, but what we want to know is, how'd you end up where you did?
What happened? What happened?
Well, the last wreck there, not the last, like on the last lap, but the last restart one, I hit the back of someone, and it made the splitter go up just the tiniest bit, and I couldn't turn the car. I just had no downforce.
Art Next Gen's the best.
Yeah.
So much fun. Well, man, you were
bad.
You were
at the stream, and I guess it was bad.
I feel you on that one, man. Well, before, I guess we'll warn you now. We probably should, me and Jaden. We called you like a psychopath. A lot of things today.
Oh yeah.
Because you were on one today. Even for you, you were on one today, Michael Mata. Take me through your race.
I knew I was burning up the tires early, so I was like, I'm just gonna keep the lead. And once they caught me, I was able to hold on. So I was like, okay, I might as well race them.
Yeah.
And then I didn't pit that first caution, and it just put me behind a little bit on strategy.
I mean,
if we didn't get that last caution, I would have had to pit again, and it would have put me way back.
I really don't blame you for that. I mean, like, we were talking a lot about that on the broadcast as well. When that caution, or when you guys were kind of stretching that run, I didn't blame you for not wanting to risk it, because didn't it feel like a caution was inevitable out there?
Yeah, I mean, well, what was it? The first one I was like, no, it's only been 10 laps, I'm not going to take tires. And I didn't, and I was able to hold on to it for a while. I started racing them, I felt like third or fourth. And then I pit, and I had to drive my way back through the field, and I cycled out to like first or second with Parham. And then we got a caution, and we pit, and it just evened out. But if that caution didn't come out, we would have been like last.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the way it goes sometimes. So I guess it did end up working out, giving you a chance, even with, I mean, I think objectively a top 3 car today. You were an absolute rocket ship. But man, Michael Mata, you were always a blast to watch, especially on these more technical tracks where it really demands a lot of the track. So and the driver, it's so much fun to watch you. So great job today. Always a pleasure when you're able to make it here. Anyone you give a shout out to before you get out of here today?
I don't know where Case Beer was. I don't know where the other teammate.
Oh yeah, where was Jonathan?
Bobby Dotson was. I don't know. I don't know where either of them were. I think Case Beer may have fallen asleep. I probably should have called him. But I don't know. I'm gonna be a bad team owner.
Hey, I'd be guilty of that. He's on one of my Casey Beer's on one of my teams, and I would probably done the same thing.
Yeah.
But hey.
Oh, the restarts. I was in second with everyone else.
Oh yeah, do you like your? I'm using a new nickname for you, Mr. First Gear. Do you like it?
I like it. I like it because that's like my strong point. If I can start in the front, I'm getting a gap.
It's
There's only a couple guys who can keep with me, and it's I'm afraid when they're next to me.
I mean, there's even less guys with the balls to start in first gear in next gen, so that has a lot to do with it as well, Michael. Well done, man. Always great having you out here. Great run today.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, that was crazy to see him kind of vanish. He was so fast at the beginning.
Oh, he was great, and I mean, these races are this long and this unpredictable with so many different tire strategies going on, anything can happen, and we saw that today. It's so frustrating to have such a fast car, and really not getting the finish I think you felt like was coming to you. But what I always say when you have speed like that, Mean Gene, if you keep doing that over and over again, the win's inevitable.
Wouldn't be surprised. He did win last year, one of our playoff drivers.
Yes.
So we'll see what Michael Mata can do moving forward. But now let's move our attention to the podium, and we are going to interview the number 8 driver, Andrew Bolander. Andrew, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I mean, what is going on in your team right now? You go 4th at Charlotte. You go 2nd with a podium finish last week at the iRacing Super Speedway. And here you are at 3rd. I mean, bro, can it get any better than this?
2 more spots would be a little better.
Well, I wouldn't have been surprised the way you were driving out there today, but you're really focused this year. I gotta say, you know, we're used to seeing you run top 10, top 6, but this year so far, these finishes are just something special. Do you just love this car?
I don't mind the car, but a lot of it's the tracks. I like Auto Club and Charlotte, but those kind of tracks I'm pretty good at.
What about Daytona Road Course? That's next week.
No comment.
Love it. Well, you better show up because your team is going to need you right now. You are definitely a powerhouse for your team out there, Andrew. Just hell of a season so far. Watching you put this thing together. Those late cautions, you ran up front pretty much all day. Did it really affect your strategy, or did you just feel dialed in and controlled the whole time, even with the late cautions?
Pretty late. I was back in like 20 seconds, so I didn't think I had a shot, but luckily we somehow missed a wreck and gained a bunch of spots, and then just had been aggressive in the restarts.
Yeah, really heck of a good run, bud. Just watching you this season has been such a pleasure. Anybody you want to give a shout out to here today?
But yeah, first, don't focus on me next week because the car will be there, but not gonna be good.
Oh no, we're doing a
We're
KK
filming him
Woodwork
so much
profile. Yeah, you're gonna get a KK Woodwork profile. We're gonna make you the focus.
Oh no! But I like to thank Colin Bollinger, Tom Walton, Daniel Plant-Smith. I mean, we was all in the chat together, working well with each other, and then like we always do. So that was then.
Yeah, really been fun to watch you guys out there making this thing happen this year. And I watched you advance so well on the Wednesdays, so it's really fun to just see what you're putting together this year. I'm looking at this thing, and you're not officially on a team. Is that correct?
That is, but I mean, got some works going.
I was about to say, especially if you're talking about Daniel Smith, yourself. I mean, I think we might need to get an update on the team listing next week. Not going to put too much pressure on you, bud, but pressure builds diamonds.
Yeah, they do. And shout out to David and Tony, because we had a good battle, dude.
It was super exciting, dude. You're going to enjoy the rebroadcast because you were up there pretty prominently and really tight racing, so many lines, and to just watch how all of you managed to traverse your way through the traffic. Very exciting for us, the viewers at home. Andrew, thank you so much. Andrew Bolander, driver of the number 8. He finishes 3rd today. Good luck next week, brother.
All right, thank you. I need it.
All right, Mean Gene. I think Bolander also, our last year stage winner, kind of on a one-off. Just a great example of someone who, just like you said, has a certain track and they just know to get around it. I had him circled today, and he did not disappoint.
Yeah, I mean, that guy, and so far he's just been really fast. If he could put together the tracks that he doesn't like,
Yeah, right.
I mean, he's definitely a playoff driver. So if he just makes it toward the end, I think he's going to be a hard out.
Couldn't agree more. I totally agree. He's like a round of 8 driver to me so far.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of round of 8 drivers, that was mean. Tony Iverson.
Dirty.
How you doing, my man?
Ouch, man.
How you doing, Tony?
I'm doing good. That was a blast.
So our second place driver here, ladies and gentlemen, Tony Iverson, clearly our favorite driver. Man, that was fun to watch today. You put on a show, as you always do. And we were curious, I'm not going to lie, and we were speculating about how you and your newfound teammate would race each other today. And you guys kept it clean. And so what was going through your head at the end of that? And I want to know, and be honest, do you race David Owens a little bit differently if it's last season?
No, he was pretty much like the person that saw me reaching out to join a league, and he was the first person from this league to like recruit me. So I probably would have raced him the same. Maybe not as nice, but no, that was super fun. I kind of knew when he got up on the high side toward the last couple laps there that I was gonna have my work cut out for me. But yeah, we still had a clean race, side by side finish for the team. Yeah, it was a blast. Not much more you can ask for there.
Yeah, we're really starting to see the high side hustlers take form and be the dominant force that we expected them to. So that was fun to see today. Also, I think from the data available to us towards the end of that race, you had some of the most egregious tire situation on that last run, and it was particularly impressive how you were able to hold them off and maintain your position. So take me through what it's like at the end of a race like that. Are you even thinking about your tires? I mean, obviously, any race car driver, if you're anything like me, you can't, as much as you don't want to, you can't not think about the disadvantage you're at. But are you even thinking about saving at that point, or are you just going for it?
I wasn't really like pushing until there was about 5 to go, just for like tire temp. But like I was conscious of who had older tires than me until I was in front of them, and then I didn't really care after that. But like on that last restart when I was in third, I knew both of the guys in front of me were like 8 and 9.
Yeah.
Or was it like 9 and 11, something like that. And so yeah, I knew I just really wanted to get past those guys before everybody else that pitted with me. But that was probably the only time I was really conscious of it. And then once I got in the lead, I felt like I needed to try to keep the tires cool because it's such a draft heavy track that, I didn't want to burn them up just trying to hold it and then, get to the last couple and not have a chance. So no, it all played out great. And I'm definitely glad Owens was the one up there racing me at the end. And I did make one really aggressive last second block on Kevin and Kyle that I'd like to apologize for.
Sure. I'm sure he has.
He gave me a little bump. He gave me a little bump at the end there, but no, that was awesome. I like the showing for the team. I wish Buddy could have raced with us tonight, but yeah, other than that, good stuff.
I think there's other people in the list of Kevin Kyle, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. And the aggressiveness was up and down the track. And one more question, just out of curiosity, because you're always fun to hear from and very transparent about it. And we were talking a little bit about this on the last run, especially with Owens. How big of a role was air playing out there in terms of how to defend and how to maintain your position? As it felt like that's the game Owens was playing as we came down to the final laps of the race.
No, yeah, air definitely mattered if they got where you wanted to go. And like, if you initiate the turn in and you have a certain line in mind and they take that line, having to make the adjustments mid-entry to, hit another line, I think that's kind of a big separator between who can run here and who can't. But I was having a bit of an easier time with it because I was willing to go lower than everybody else for the majority of the race. So I didn't experience it as much until people were behind me, and then I'd go low and nobody else would. So
yeah,
yeah, it was fun, a little bit of chess going on out there, but on a track that's so draft heavy like this, when you're in the lead, you do kind of want to get in front of them. But like I said, if they're good enough to make that adjustment mid corner, then it's kind of just going back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And there's this track really is one of those tracks where you have that inside dialed in. And for me, it's always like, I don't even know what I'm doing, but it seems like these guys can't. So I'm going to keep doing it. So that really does give you an advantage of a track like this. And yeah, it really is about oftentimes just going wherever the clean air is. Great job today, Tony. Great to hear from you again. We've missed you in these post-race interviews. Hope to hear more of them as the season goes on. Great to have you back on the podium. Anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, I got to give a shout out to the Hustlers and our new recruit, Mr. Eric Thornton. Want to give him a shout out too. We had a little bit of racing out there today, and shout out to the wife as well, putting up with this crap, and yeah, and then the obligatory shout out to you guys and to the league. I mean, I made a bunch of really stupid moves out there today, and I can't wait to watch the broadcast and see how ridiculous I look.
Oh, I made fun of you a lot, as I always do. Don't worry, man. Great race today, Tony, and I make fun of you because I can, because it's easier when it's someone as good as you, man. So great job today, and always a pleasure watching you.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
All right. Well, Mean Gene, he's been infiltrating our room over and over, and now I'll finally let him in. He's being nice.
Looking at those high side hustlers, man. They're just coming out of nowhere. Look at that. You got Thornton moves up a spot to become number 5. Tony Iverson moves up 5 spots to become number 8.
We got
these
that.
Guys,
we'll go over that.
These guys
you're
are
right.
charging.
They are.
And they are the number 1 team. They surpassed Venom Racing. Venom was the number 1 team last week after the iRacing Super Speedway, but those high side hustlers are going to go ahead and take that bump up and become the number 1 team. And sure, Tony Iverson did his part, but you know who really did their part? That is going to be David Owens, driver of the number 11. David, are you there, brother?
Yes, sir. I'm here for you, boys.
I'll tell you what, last year, that wind ducked you more than my ex-girlfriend at senior prom. But this year, that wind just slid right in like a glove at an OJ trial, didn't it?
Absolutely.
The glove didn't slide in at all. It didn't fit.
Yes, it did. He spread his hands, man. Don't you mess with me. But David, I mean, for real. Now, Zach asked Tony earlier about the way Tony drove. I didn't see Tony give you a lick. The only thing I saw was at one point you knew Tony was going to come up on those loose tires. And so you backed off a little bit. Was that something you were aware of, is that Tony was on those weaker tires?
Yep. So just watching Tony, he's fast. And this is the reason we're teamed up with him, Eric Thornton, and Buddy Slee. And it's just, he was running that high side early in that last run right there. So I knew if he couldn't hold that bottom really. So further we got on toward the end of that run coming to the checkered, I was like just gonna let him just use it up and let him slide, and I'll just cross him over when I need to.
Yeah, you really seem to make the best use of the track. Tony and Michael Mata and Sean Walton, who charged in at the end, just seemed to be ducking and looking for open air, whereas you, on the other hand, just seem to have the patience that the other drivers weren't showing to run your line and actually modulate the gas pedal. Is that just kind of like your style? Did you know I'm going to race the track and not these people?
Absolutely. The race on the track doesn't just fit for Darlington and a few others. It's every track. You got to race that track, but certain tracks, Auto Club, you can race the track, but you also got to race the competitors. But if you focus more on the track, you can definitely get the job done.
Write that down, kids. Write that down.
For real, because I felt that's what happened. I saw all these other guys that were racing each other, and then you just seemed to like hold a certain pace and make your way through the track as other people wore out their tires. And then you were smart enough to avoid those cautions, avoiding certain drivers, he who shall not be named, who ended up coming and making, contact with other people. And then just at the end, there you are. What was the most tense moment for you? Was there a moment where you thought this race might be over? And how did you overcome that?
That I think it was the third to last restart where I think Stephen Neal got a bad restart on the inside, and He got tight and just pulled all the air off the rear of my car, and I slapped the wall. And to me, I thought that was it. I've got that right front corner damage, and it's over from here. It's just gonna nurse it home. But luckily, it just, I don't know. Didn't get damaged. Thankful to the racing gods right there for no damage and able to pull the car back through.
Well, I got to tell you, buddy, it was exciting to watch. You cut through the field. You were an unfortunate victim of the penalty forced to start, an EOL to start it off. Yet you managed to stay with the group, had a great pit strategy. Do you want to credit your Sunday start and racing the 81 laps on Sunday? Did you learn anything from that?
Just went into the same game plan I had with Sunday. It's just that Sunday's races gave me a little bit more practice on when to move up off the bottom and what to expect when I did run the high side. Even though the first time I ran the high side, I didn't smack the wall, but I did get attached to it to keep me from getting some stage points. But other than that, it definitely helped.
Third time also.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I ask one
Yes,
I
more
was
question?
talking.
That's
Go
true.
for it.
Did it race different? It looked like to me as well. Did it race different than yesterday?
A little bit more grippy.
Yeah, it looked a lot more like the runs were enormous down the stretches compared to yesterday.
Yeah, I think it was about an 8-degree track difference in temp, so it was definitely grippier. Kind of allowed you to, if you were running the bottom, you were able to pull from the top and go to the bottom to save the tire. Which I was very surprised so many people decided to run the top tonight so early.
Yeah, me too. Me
Yeah,
too.
that was something. I spoke with Kevin Kyle. Kevin Kyle was you and him, 4 drivers total, did run on Sunday, and that was something Kevin talked about, was the wisdom to determine when it was time to go up high. And we saw a lot of the drivers here going up high a little too quickly, and I think that's what cost them. And watching you and Iverson and Bolander making that decision to go down low is what really made you guys the cream of the crop this evening, David. Just really smart driving, really consistent driving, and I think that's why we see that number 11 pilot his way to victory lane tonight. David, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Everybody in the league, man, just great racing. I know we had a handful of cautions tonight, but it's Auto Club. It's going to happen, but at least it wasn't a caution fest. So I'm happy for that. Shout out to my teammates, Tony, Eric, and Buddy. And the battle with Tony and Andrew at the end right there. It's
Be putting this battle on, and I cannot wait to see you guys next week as we have to turn the car right, as you guys are going to take it to the Daytona road course, and that's going to be a whole different scenario for the entire league. Ladies and gentlemen, that's David Owens, driver of the number 11 high side slider car, winning here tonight. Thank you so much, David. Have a good night. You earned it, brother.
Congrats, my man.
Thank you, sir. Y'all have a good one. Thank you.
I'll tell you what, Zach, we talked about how much of an advantage it would be for these guys. 4 drivers participated in a full-length 81 lap race with the Bonfire Race League yesterday, and Kevin Kyle finished 4th, Joe Volpa's 5th, Jose Medina 7, and David Owens wins. So putting in those 81 laps, I think that might have helped.
Yeah, it definitely did. It didn't help, I think, a little bit as much as we thought it would, Mean Gene, because that was the confirmation that I wanted from Owens there. Because I was thinking it about halfway through the race where I was noticing, I was like, wow, this inside lane is getting way bigger runs than we saw yesterday in the BRL, where it really felt like past like 15 laps, if you weren't on the top, good luck, buddy. And it was really just a matter of protecting your tires enough to where you could still use that top lane and have that steering input to be comfortable enough to get the most out of it. And I was talking to Kevin Kyle specifically going into this race, giving him a little bit of coaching and telling him, I think it's all about, man, use that bottom for as long as you can so you can maximize the top. And honestly, looking back at the race, I'm not even sure if that was the best advice, because the inside ended up being so advantageous to where you really should have ran that thing absolutely even longer than maybe even felt like you should. So when you needed the top, whether it be like we saw today, 35, 40 laps into a run, it was available to you. So it was different enough to make guys who weren't there yesterday absolutely have a shot, but there's absolutely no denying that being here yesterday and the BRL, which we're covering, you and I together, up in the Bonfire Racing League network, you guys can check out on YouTube, was definitely a huge advantage. I mean, extra time on track, whether it be a different track or the same track, is never going to hurt.
Yeah, I think the track temperatures were very similar, but like you said, really amazing to see how much more effective the slide jobs were tonight. The ability for the drivers to just go down low, come up and put that block on. And we saw a lot of those blocks being employed. You know, Tony Iverson really did a great job of using that block. And I know he made the comment of, you know, apologizing to drivers, but, you know, I'll apologize to you from victory lane. I'll apologize to you from the podium. And I think that's what we saw here with Tony tonight.
Yeah, I agree.
Really exciting race, man. Really exciting race to watch. Clean at the beginning, a few cautions here at the end, but that was also indicative of what we saw last week or yesterday, and also what we saw last year from these guys of the early green flags and then the late shenanigans causing those wrecks. Speaking of late shenanigans, once again, we see Sean Walton get caught up in it. That guy is just so damn fast, Zach. If he could just close the deal, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
You can't win every race, but race hard, push yourself into the top 5, and then just swallow that pill and think, okay, it's going to be a 6th place today. Okay, it's going to be a 4th place today. Because Sean, this guy's been top 5 every damn race, Zach.
Yep.
And I'm looking at the points, and he's 20th.
Yeah, it's so funny, Mean Gene. You bring up this comparison all the time, and I love this comparison because I brought this up individually to my friends, and I always talked about it, and it's the real-life NASCAR comparison of Ross Chastain.
Ross Chastain.
Yep, about, what was it, 3 years ago when we saw the Hail Melon around Martinsville. That whole season, he had issues with Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch. The list goes on. I know I'm forgetting a handful of guys, just about anybody who mattered. And that's the problem about when you're a Ross Chastain or a Sean Walton and you're also fast. You're pissing off fast drivers, which is a lot worse than pissing off guys you don't have to worry about racing most of the race, right? These are guys you have to worry about racing for a championship. But what I also, on the flip side of that with Ross Chastain, it is easy to say that once they dialed him back in, it did definitely affect his speed. He lost some speed. He wasn't that same race winner.
He wasn't even in the championship.
But, Mean Gene, what happened the next season? I think a lot of people forget about this, and even I did on the spot when you asked me about it last season. What happened the next season? He went because of the Hail Melon. He went to the championship race. He didn't get it done. He came in 2nd place. The next season, because he kind of had his tail cut off, he didn't have a chance at the championship. But what did he do, Mean Gene? He won the championship race. He was 1 season away from winning a championship. If he had just won that race 1 season later, he would have been a champion. He would have been in the Final 4. And I think about that same thing with Sean Walton. I wonder if he thinks all I got to do is maybe get a win, get myself to the playoffs, and if I'm him, dial it back until then. Really, really dial in your speed, your cleanness, and your racecraft, and then bring out this Sean Walton in the playoffs when it's winning time.
Yeah, because right now Sean is looking at no team and no friends. And I think that's just a lesson that he's going to learn. No one doubts his ability to drive. They just doubt his wisdom of when it's time to use that bumper and when it's time to not. I keep harping on this guy, but
and we talk about him all the time, right? He gets airtime because of it.
I do, but just because he's part of it. You know, he's part of the race. He affects the races. Last week, he got in it with Kevin Kyle and caused that caution. And then that let Kyle kind of scoot back up. And then Kyle had been driving really fast the entire day, and he pushes the thing to the win.
Speaking
so
of
that's,
him,
you know.
Look at our championship standing. Speaking of that man right there, Kevin Kyle, maintaining that championship lead.
Yeah, Kevin Kyle, you can see he's up on top. Andrew Bolander, no win, but on the power of a 4th, a 2nd, and a 3rd place. Bolander right now is in 2nd place. And there's David Owens. You know, we joked about last year, no wins. He turns his back on Gulf Coast Racing, gets into this new super team, and it only takes him 3 wins, 3 races, and look who gets that dub.
Very true. Maybe that was the problem, Mean Gene. And yeah, I guess we didn't make that a big enough deal because we did see David Owens win a BRL race a couple weeks ago, so it felt like we never got to commentating Owens win, but that was a big deal. That was his first MRL Cup Series win on this network, so good for David Owens. And I mean no disrespect about this in the slightest, me and Gene, and he finished in 5th today, which is super impressive because we did not spend enough time talking about this guy. But Joe Volpes, did you expect to see him in 4th place in the standings?
No, Joe is really a unique kind of guy. We talked about David Owens being the godfather of the league. He was one of the first MRL guys to make that jump from the old Heat 5 with, I think it was called QRL. And then he goes into the MRL, opens up the Wednesday nights. And so this guy was one of the top people. And Joe Volpes, quickly made that jump after him. But Joe had great success in trucks. And it's just a matter of time, I think, until we see Joe make that jump. These next gen cars are really funny. They don't handle the same. You wiggle, that butt comes around. So I'm not surprised to see Joe up in that top 5. I am surprised to not see Joe on that podium, and I am surprised to not see Joe take that checkered flag from the flagman.
I agree with that, and don't forget Joe Volpes. Actually, I mean, granted with what you just said as well, yeah, it was the QRL. That's how far back I go. The Quarantine Race League. I'm sure you guys can use your imagination to see where they came up with that league name.
That's where my trophy comes from.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Yeah, 2024 Cup champion. That's right.
I believe you. Joe Volpes is the all-time winner of this league, of this MRL Monday Night Mayhem league. It's been going on this is our 4th season. So Joe Volpes, I mean, not just because of how long he's been here, but because of the speed that guy has and how well he drives this car, has the most wins in this league. So it is impressive to see him in 4th. He had a nightmare of a season last year. So I'm sure he's very happy to find himself in 4th place right now. And then, yeah, High Side Hustlers, you're just seeing that name all over the place in the standings on the right side. I'm seeing Thornton in 5th. Eric Thornton has been very, very impressive this season. He has had a chance to win every race this year. Eric Thornton has been a killer. He's really taken a step up. Colin Bollinger, someone who I honestly thought, me and Gene, I thought he was going to be like David Cook 2.0. And I'm not saying he's not yet, because he's always seems to be there and have a chance at it. But man, he came down for one race last year, got it done and got the win there, and then got our season opener. So all I had seen Colin Bollinger do is win races, and now we're finally seeing him come down to earth a tiny bit in 6th place. Fritz in 7th, ever the consistent. Iverson in 8th. I'm sure he would have loved that win, but 8th is not bad for him. I think even though we're only in round 4, me and Gene, you're already got to be thinking about the playoffs, don't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. At this stage, you cannot fiddle about. If you think about 12 guys are going to go to the playoffs, guess who's out? Michael Mata.
Wow.
He's on the outside looking in. Guess who's out? Jack Sanders, season 2 winner. Justin Parham, round of 8. He's out.
Amato.
Joe Amato, round of 12. He's out. That guy won the pole. That guy was running up front all day long. How about Daniel Smith? He's out. Sean Walton, he's out. Austin Merrow, round of 12. He's out. Jonathan Quesabir. It goes on and on. You cannot fiddle about. And you know darn well when Buddy Sully comes back from that shoulder injury and Buddy, I don't want to jump the gun, but, there's a Buddy Jr. He's got the wife's got a bun in the oven. When he comes back from that SOB is going to win a race and punch his ticket.
You're not wrong at all.
It gets tighter and tighter. So you have got to jump on top of this right now. And that's why when I look at each race, I think to myself, why do you take the chance on lap 32? Why are you taking a foolish chance on lap 28 when you're in 8th place? Like, let it ride. And that's what we saw David Owens do tonight, I think. David let people go by. He said, it ain't my time. You remember after that first green flag pit stop, and he just let drivers go by him. He was in the front, and then he faded back, and he just disappeared from our radar. But he didn't disappear from victory lane. And I think that's that wisdom that we need to see more and more drivers exhibit if they expect to find themselves into the round, that championship race.
Yeah, I mean, every point you just made there was spot on. I could not agree more. Kids, like I said about when Owens was talking, right down what me and Gene just said. The other league we covered, BRL, they don't have a fast repair, and we often talk about how different that is, right? When you have that fast repair and you kind of have that crutch, like, oh, I can make a mistake, and my race isn't over. But it's not like that, Mean Gene. I think what a lot of drivers don't think about is once that fast repair is gone, let's say, like you said, you do some dumb stuff on lap 28, lap 30, and then you have more than half the race to go and your fast repair is gone. That's going to affect your mentality. That's going to affect how you approach every single move you make for the rest of the race. You are no longer going all out like someone else who does have their fast repair available to them can do. And I actually think that's another thing that we should talk about too, is when you race a league like BRL and you're given that mental discipline to think, I don't have a fast repair, I can't do that. It makes a race like that much easier, because the best way to approach a fast repair is to pretend like you don't even have it. Use it if you have to.
It's if you're a victim. It's if you're a victim of someone else's foolishness. How many times did we see that tonight, where you're minding your own damn business and then all of a sudden
as well? And you're totally right. And it really is. And I kind of call it this sometimes when I'm kind of coaching my team or trying to help my team out in situations like that. And I'll put Hillman on the spot, especially guys like Hillman who have just so much freaking raw speed. That guy has so much talent within him. But there's a difference, Mean Gene, and I always say there's a difference between leading a race and winning a race. And winning a race is so much harder than leading a race. Anyone can lead a race, but winning a race is so hard. And like you talked about Owens just a little bit ago, Owens is the type of guy who approaches races methodically. He has data available to him to where, yeah, like you're saying, he might fade back, go back to 8th place, but he's looking at his data, looking at his lap times and thinking, all right, well, if I get to these guys at the end, I know I'm fast enough. I'm looking at my lap data and I know I'm where I need to be. So I'm just going to save my stuff, not do anything stupid right now, and I'll see you guys when it actually matters, when the points actually pay out, when the pay window's open. And that is a thing that I think a lot of these drivers are going to have to learn as they progress in this league and spend more time here. I mean, we saw with guys like Tony Iverson last season, dominating races, but not being there at the end to collect the trophy. It's so much harder. I can't tell you how many races I've had in it specifically like that, Mean Gene. I wish I had it available to me right now. It's disgusting how many laps led I have in MRL compared to my races won. I'll just say this right now. Joseph Volpis, I think, has double the amount of race wins I do, and I've led about 500 more laps than he has. Leading laps doesn't matter. I'd rather have all those trophies.
He's a closer.
Yep.
He's a closer. You know, what is that, a saying in sales? ABC, always be closing.
Always be
and
closing.
That's what we see the winners do. They're counting backwards from the beginning of the race, and they have strategies going into it, bearing into mind the data of how many tire sets do I have, how many laps are going, and what they're not taking into account is the fast repairs. The fast repair is an smoke. An accident happened. Thank God that's there, but I ain't relying on it. And that's, I think, what we're seeing more and more from those top drivers. They're not taking a chance because they got a fast repair. They're just driving their race, racing the track. You know, David said that tonight about racing the track, and you need to be aware of your own speed. Yeah, it's real fun. It's fun in games until somebody misses their breaking point, and then you take out 3 or 4 more guys, and then they hate your face. If anybody, luckily they're not broadcasting the Wednesday night races, or you would have seen me do that at the Chicago street course when I blew my break point and took out 5 guys. Yeah, that's a lot of sorries that I got coming on.
You're just lucky you're not that Jerry Rose guys on Sunday. That guy's out of control.
Yeah, that son bitch. I tell you what, that guy's out of control. But anyway, anything final takeaways from this one, Zach?
Another great one, Mean Gene. And yeah, real quick on David Owens. I agree. I love what he said about racing the track and your competitor. And just to kind of expand on that from my point of view, that's another thing that I talked to with Kevin Kyle earlier before this race. I was kind of telling him, you really got to go to the bottom when you can. And he's like, so, okay, I'm going to focus on the bottom. I'm like, not just that. When the spots are available to you, take the top. Abuse those guys. Get those spots. You got to race the track and your opponents at the same time. You got to be doing math the whole race, thinking about how many times was I on the bottom, how many times was on the top, where's my car at, where are my tires at probably. And we saw so much of that today. And man, with these fields getting the size they are, Mean Gene, it's just making it so much more intense. I mean, we're seeing so many guys who we were just going over our points. They're not even in playoff position, but they could win any given day, and it's just making it that much more fun. So again, Mean Gene, another great season. I hope you guys come check us out on Sunday nights as well. We're covering the Bonfire Race League on Sunday nights. Check them out on YouTube. We're having a great time over there, bright and early, and then we're coming over here in MRL. And next week, Mean Gene, I'm stoked for next week. We're going to turn right in both leagues. We're doing Sonoma on Sunday, and then here on Monday, Daytona, right? Or is that where we're going? Woo! I
Yeah.
don't envy them. There will be no Zach on track. There's a spoiler right there. I will not embarrass myself and show you guys around.
Maybe we record it. We can record your best one.
If you will get me one of those Camrys like what Jeff Burton gets to do, I'll happily do it. I'm not doing that stuff in the next gen. Are you serious? Maybe I'll try to put in some laps and be able to show you guys around it. I have talked some crap about how good I am turning it right, but I've never been there. But there's one thing I know about it. All my friends who have been there, me and Gene, they say it's technical, it's difficult. Those Rovals are not built like road courses. They're not truly, really for stock cars, which just really makes it that much crazier and that much more fun to watch. So I'm super excited. Last time we turned right, we saw absolute mayhem. We saw actual iRacing cautions, which you never see at road courses. So needless to say, I'm excited for next week. I can't wait to be back here with you, me and Gene. And just yet another great race here. It's delivering, and this season is as unpredictable as ever.
Yeah, Monday nights here have just been amazing. For you guys at home, go ahead and take this opportunity, hit subscribe, tell your friends. This is some of the fastest racing that you are going to see, some of the most competitive. I mean, look at how many drivers we bring you week in and week out. We're 3 races into this league, and you've already seen 25 drivers all 3 weeks, along with other drivers in and out to give us the field that you saw tonight. Hit subscribe, tell your friends, and you're just going to continue to see some of the best racing that you can imagine. And you can see this thing also on a replay. Now, my takeaways from today, though, are how about cream of the crop? You see people that have punched their ticket already. Kevin Kyle is a Bonfire League champion. David Owens, multiple-time MRL champion. Colin Bollinger, Wednesday night champion from last year. And then as you look at these other guys, they are top 3 drivers from championship races. They are part of that final 4. So this thing is squeezing so tight. It's like a tube of toothpaste. And once you squeeze it, you can't put it back in. All these drivers need to be aware of that and take that opportunity. Practice. Everybody needs to practice. Everybody needs to race against the AI, and they're going to need to set it to the David Owens setting if they think they're going to be competitive come next Sunday. So I have just enjoyed watching this league develop. We've been broadcasting for 2 years, and I've just seen this competition get better and better every week, and just seen the fields get better and better every week, Zach. And I just can't wait to see where this thing goes come next week when we run at Daytona and our 4th race. That's just going to be the 4th race of the 12-race regular season.
Yes, it is, me and Gene. It's going to be absolute mayhem, and it's already so many storylines developing. I cannot wait.
No, exactly. And I hate to say it, but I'm going to keep talking about random people as well.
Yes,
so
sir.
Come out, make a strong run. Just be consistent. I can't talk about you if you're wrecking, because I'm not going to encourage that kind of behavior. But if you're in the middle and you're making it happen, I want to talk about you. So drivers, reach out. Our admins for this league are Joe Vulpus, John Beverly. Reach out to them. Make a comment here in the YouTube. We've got so many leagues that you drivers at home could be a part of. We've got a beginner league on Friday nights. We've got truck leagues on Tuesday and Thursday with our sister league, the Bonfire Race League. We run Sunday mornings if you got a family and you got to sneak in a 6 a.m. race. Or you could come and race in our Premier League here on Monday. And then we got a Wednesday night Xfinity League as well, admin by David Owens. So there's so many opportunities for you guys at home to be a part of this. And I would love for you to be, because, Zach, I feel blessed just to be out here talking about this, bud.
Me as well, man. I cannot describe how lucky I feel to be here every single week. I do this for free. I have the greatest time every time I get to
say
talk
that.
with you. Good point. But man, it's so much because of these drivers on the track. I'm having the best time. I feel so lucky to be here, man.
Yeah, it has just been awesome. And that is going to wrap it up from us, ladies and gentlemen. David Owens is your winner here at Fontana at Auto Club. He is the stud of the club. On behalf of myself, Mean Gene Money, Zach Panzarella, Chantilly Lace, our primary sponsor here today, admins John Beverly, Joe Vulpus, the sponsorship of Daily Drivers Inc. and KK Woodscapes, and the entire production truck boys, I want to say thank you. And as always, bottoms up and hammers down.